Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the ETC Virtual Festival 2020. So to those of you watching at home, thank you for joining us today. I see we have a few people here already, which is great to see. We have a lot of stuff to cover today, so we can go ahead and get started. But before we really jump into the festival itself, it's important to get a little context about what exactly we're all doing here, because that's important to set things up, right? To set the stage. For those of you who don't know, who are sitting at home now wondering what the heck the ETC is, the ETC is the Entertainment Technology Center. It's a 2-year professional graduate program, and throughout the course of studies, students focus on developing transformational games, researching innovation by design and interactive storytelling, and work in interdisciplinary teams across their entire time span in the program. And typically in the fall, there's a large festival at the ETC building, and it's kind of the highlight of all of our years, as you know, this build up to the end of the semester, and unfortunately, of course, it can't happen this year due to reasons that we don't exactly need to say, but of course it's COVID-19. None of us are allowed in or near the building, and so it has pushed us all remote. And so the thing that my student team, Cloudworks, we're a 6-person team at the ETC, the thing that we're responsible for is redesigning and reimagining and developing the festival for this new virtual format. And so what we have created is a couple of things. For one, this live stream that you're watching now is one portion of the festival. We're live streaming a presentation of student work, of second-year student work, and then also capturing the visual storytelling work that the first-year students work on, and the BVW, Building Virtual Worlds, student work that is created also by first years. So what we're going to focus on first is the material from Building Virtual Worlds. It's the first class, one of the first main classes that first-year students take. They take a few classes in their immersion semester as they, get their feet wet and really start to develop interdisciplinary team-working skills and really begin to dive deeply, sometimes for the first time, on developing interactive projects. Normally, it's kind of a highlight of the festival, seeing all of these virtual reality or augmented reality, different types of projects. And this year everything is remote, and all the students are working from home, spread across the world, and it's been really incredible to see the work that they produce in such short time spans in remote teams. And so I'm sorry if you hear my dog in the background. This is a staple that you'll find for me all throughout the pandemic has been my dog coming in onto virtual events. So you might hear that in the background. I apologize. I think she's a little upset to be awake this early. Normally she gets to sleep in. But anyway, back to BVW, Building Virtual Worlds. Good morning, good morning. So Building Virtual Worlds, the first-year students work on teams for about 2 weeks on different projects. And at the end of those 2 weeks, they present their work and their teams disperse. And in the next class, they get brand new teams and start all over again throughout the course of the entire semester. So between the 45 students that we have this year, they work on 5 different projects through the course of the semester, 9 different teams. I'll let you do the math on that. But what we can go ahead and do is get started and showcase the virtual space that my team, Cloudworks, has created to house all the content of the festival this year. And this is a fully interactive space. So I will go ahead and switch over to show off what we have. As you can see, I have a little avatar here in the space. I can customize my appearance. I've already done that, so we don't have to go through the whole process here. But as I walk around the space, I can go ahead and hop out of my personal room and into the festival proper. And so we're going to start today in the morning walking around the BBW Carnival Sunrise space. There are two spaces that for BBW. There's the sunrise and the sunset spaces, and we're going to start with the sunrise space for the morning, of course. It's aptly named. So we'll just do a little spectating around, see what's happening. We already see a few people have joined, and they're all represented by avatars that they have created. A lot of the avatar assets were created by the BBW students themselves. Some of them are themed around their worlds that they've submitted to the festival and have been accepted. And so we can just go ahead and walk around the space at first, just to kind of showcase what's going on here. So normally at the festival, each festival team is assigned to a specific room in the building, and they get to decorate it to their heart's desire, as long as they're not sticking anything on the walls, of course. That would be disastrous. And so we've really aimed to kind of recapture that experience with our project. And so we've given each team a tent that they've been able to decorate with assets from their project, or things that they've created to kind of represent themselves in the space. And so we can just kind of tour around and see what the spaces look like that the students have made, and how they've decided to kind of represent their projects. And so we'll also be able to go inside of these spaces and see how they've decorated the interiors too, but we're just getting a global look first. So we can go ahead. We'll start seeing Let's Bounce. Let's Bounce. So the way this works is when you enter into one of the BBW rooms, you're greeted by a couple different interactions that you'll want to go through. So first up is, of course, downloading the projects. We have the projects available for download directly from our project, and they just download straight to your computer, and you'll be able to launch them straight from the festival itself. But before I launch it, instead of launching it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the Zoom room. So each project also has a Zoom room that they're sitting in to greet guests that come in and walk them through their experience and play the game with them, or set up the game for them to play with other guests. So that's kind of the whole thing is getting that sense of ETC community continuing to go even though we are all remote. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this Zoom room. I think Thomas is in there now. He's on this team, I know. And we can see about trying out Let's Bounce. And so the Zoom room is just opening up right now.
Hello, Jack.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Jack.
Make that go away.
How's it going in here?
It's going good so far. Not bad.
Okay,
Not
so
too
then
many.
I have to put my name in.
Right.
Yeah, then you put your name in there.
Do I have to use my Zoom, what I used to, on my invitation, or can I just put Cheryl? I
You
just
can
want
put
to
whatever you like.
Okay, because then
Yeah.
I'll keep it separate from Shirley Yee if she shows up.
Ah, yes.
Cool.
No, I'm not going to do the tutorial because you'll be my tutorial. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thomas, do you think we should test out the breakout room and then we can put whoever's playing this game, we can put them in a lobby maybe?
Let's wait because I think Jack is here with the live stream right now. So.
Oh yeah,
just,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to join.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, yay.
It looks. Let's see.
There's only 5 of us, though. Do we need 6?
I think maybe Hazel is working on coming in.
Launch the game because I don't see a play link on the. Usually,
Hello?
there's like a play link.
Yeah.
Hello.
So you need to go back into the festival world and walk to the left. There's like a download icon.
I did that.
Oh, you did that. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's a gray screen, but there's no play.
It says we suggest you launch it in Zoom. Or launch
Oh, launch anyway. Yeah. That works.
Oh, you know what? I think it's just the Windows header was blocked, so we fixed that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Hello, Parker.
Hello, Thomas.
Are you finding everything all right?
I guess so. I walked into the BBW playground, the BBW area, yeah, and I chatted with Pavan for a second.
Right.
And then I was
always a good move.
right. And I was led here. I think someone wiggled constantly and walked me over to this Zoom call. Now I'm here.
Well, you've come to the right place.
Excellent. What am I looking at right now?
So if you want to open the game, you can click back to the festival app.
Okay.
And you'll see a gray screen, and there's a play button there.
Let's see. It says I'm currently in the Zoom room for Team Hex.
Does it say play below that?
It says return to festival.
Okay, so return to festival, and walk to the left. There's gonna be like a machine with like a rotating purple save icon above it.
Yes.
So click on that, and that's gonna start the download.
Okay. 50%. Unzipping.
So then once it's done unzipping, it's gonna turn into a green play button, and then you can just click on it one more time.
We suggest you launch it in Zoom.
You can just launch anyway.
All right. Let's see. Windows Defender. All right, cool. I'm in.
Yeah, so then just enter your name and okay. Noah, you sniped our.
Yeah, that was my bad. I was checking to see who's in there, and then I realized I was the last. Yeah, sorry.
Should I play the tutorial? Is this a multiplayer game or a single player game?
It is multiplayer. You can play the tutorial.
Someone just disconnected.
Oh, sorry. Probably that's me.
All right.
All right, I'll remake the lobby.
Yeah. Sorry. I just saw my friend coming.
All right.
He will be in the Zoom pretty soon, I think. 1 second.
Yeah, sorry, we're starting over because I think Claire
Okay.
left. Yeah.
No problem.
Right. Playing through this tutorial.
Noah, do you mind just go ahead and snipe us again, and that'll be good.
You want me to play?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Brenda, you're here. Hello.
Hi there, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello.
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 So it looks like we're ready to play.
My video as well.
It's been so long, Brenda.
Just took a couple minutes to get started as they kind of onboarded.
Are you able
a few
to download the
guests.
game?
Yeah, it was currently downloading as I was entering the Zoom, so.
Okay, cool. That's fine. I guess people are trying to get the first round start.
Yes.
So we'll move with the left mouse and
You can jump in later.
use our
when
ability
That's over.
the right.
I'm nervous.
just click on a tile to move there. Ah, our first casualty. Oh no. Oh, God.
I can't move.
Dang it. I was about to kill Harlan. Oh, he fell off anyways. Excellent. Don't worry, there's always another round.
Yes.
I watch Noah's gonna get killed immediately.
Oh no.
Let's see.
Just kidding, just kidding. Keep
Oh.
trying.
Yes.
No, we only go down.
I shouldn't have warned you.
If I was downloading before the Zoom call, should I go grab that and then come back to the Zoom call? Or how should that go?
Oh,
I
you
think-
can stay in the Zoom.
Yeah, so if you click back to the festival app, you'll see a gray screen, and it says you're currently in our Zoom, and there should be a play button there as well.
All right, I've played the tutorial, and I'll await an open room.
Yeah, if there's no open room, you can go ahead and create a new one.
Alrighty.
Festival. So maybe I'm not done down. No, okay, I can do both here. Okay, yeah.
Stalemate.
So
I'm going for the aggressive bomb play.
Jump. Gotta get off there.
if you manage to open up the game, you can just go ahead and play the tutorial.
Come on.
Jack, it's all you. We believe.
Get him.
Oh no.
Get him, Jack.
I'm so sorry, man.
No, I'm just kidding.
Uh-oh. Oh no. Looks like it's the end.
It's looking
I
good.
got you. Yay.
All right. The final showdown.
I put up a fight. I took 2 down. Out early this time.
Ay. At least I took one out with me.
I hate you, Tom.
No, this blocks me.
Can I join y'all's room? Is that a thing? Or should I wait?
We're just about to be done with this round,
Okay.
and then we'll join in if you make a lobby. We'll join.
Nice.
Okay. What's the player count I should wait for?
Best room. You can just wait for 6. I'm
Wait
sure
for
that.
6, okay.
Actually, I should leave. Yeah.
Oh no, this says another player disconnected. Press exit to return to the lobby. Should I do that?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Return.
Oh, okay.
Return.
Okay, good.
So,
So it looks like we have.
Yeah.
that was Team Hex's Let's Bounce. So it was a nice little turn-based game. We had some teams competing against each other. It was a good. Ooh, there we go. Some nice communication between the teams. I was left alone in round 2, fighting against the entire team. Managed to hold on for a little bit, but eventually had to give in, unfortunately. So let's see. Let's open up our map and see what we can do in the remaining time. Let's go try Drunko Bronco. Actually, let's go try Let Them Eat Cake first. Let Them Eat Cake should be a nice shortish experience, because at around 9:30 we're going to switch over to talking about some of the second year projects. And so as we enter this space, we see another space decorated by our BBW students, and we can play their video showcasing their work, and then we can just go ahead and jump straight into their Zoom room. Try it out. This world uses Air Console to play.
Jump it. Can we survive? Do we survive?
The people who are
Is it
playing
happening?
now
Is it happening?
Are playing off of the Zoom screen share that's happening right now, and they're playing locally on their phones.
Oh yeah, can we just reach the burger?
So the phone, when you open it up on your phone, you get a set of controls. It looks just like a controller that the team has set up, and they have, when you are both looking at the same screen, you're both controlling something on the screen. The way this world works is, I believe each person in the game controls one different leg, and so
Just the lag in the music, it's hysterical.
Deb is controlling one leg on the left, and Bob is controlling the leg on the right. And so
I think we're gonna go off the cliff again.
they have the option
Again,
of
I don't know. Maybe we can try to coordinate.
jumping
I see
and
you
then
pressing
just
left. I stopped
moving
pressing anything.
left, right, up, and down. So
I'm trying to
just
go
kind of
forward.
this awkward combination of controls allows you, brings about all kinds of chaos, of course.
Hold on.
I'm going right. I'm going right, so we don't fall off. I'm going right. Okay, are we clear on your end? I'm not clear on my end. Jumping. Okay, it seems we're there. We're off that. Oh joy. Oh, is that Eminem being a bugger? I guess we have to jump over it? No, we can cross it over. Okay, perfect. And let's try to jump here.
Okay.
And
We're in the cheese.
nice. We got a checkpoint. Great.
I'm hesitant to leave because they are so close now to the end, I think. Oh no, they have a whole other path beyond this. Certainly a sadistic team, of course.
If
in
it
the
helps, I
best
never
way
played it this
possible.
slow-mo before.
Yeah.
But we will head out from
So
this room.
funny.
Perhaps we'll demo this world later live.
It's a super slow version.
But we will go back to the festival space and go ahead and see what's going on. And of course, we can read and leave comments for the teams as well. Of course, so we'll you know. Very funny concept. Who doesn't love cake? Okay, so go ahead and return back to the main BBW Sunrise area. We are approaching the end of actually, we are at the end of the first coverage of BBW during the morning session. We will be covering BBW and demoing some of the projects live again at 11:30, from 11:30 to 12. But we will now be switching over to instead talking about the second year projects. As students move from that immersion semester in which they're doing BBW and visual storytelling, and they take an improv class and an ETC fundamentals class, they move on to their full semester projects. And these projects typically come in a number of different forms. Sometimes they're a client project, so a client might come into the ETC and say, hey, I have a project that I'd like some students to work on, and so a team of 4 to 6 students will work together on a project for the entirety of a semester. The other thing that happens is faculty will pitch a project and students will work on that project throughout the semester. Same thing. And the last thing that can happen is students get together and pitch a project on their own. And that's what happened with our team. So our team was a student pitch project. We'll talk about it later tonight, kind of more in depth. But that's kind of the third format that a student project takes in your second semester and second year. And so all the students now who are working on major projects are, they're all second year students. And so we will go ahead and bring in our first team. Of course, before we do that, we do need to transition over to our second setting, because we are no longer doing BBW. We are now doing projects. So we are now in a new setting, and we can bring in our first project, which is the August Wilson cycle. So I believe today we are going to be joined by one of their team members, M. Tominski, and so we will bring her in now. Hello, Em. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Hi, Jack.
I haven't seen you since the summer, so it's good to see you again.
Yeah, it's good to see you too.
How have you been doing?
Oh, I've been good. I mean, busy obviously with August Wilson House and all that, but it's been a good semester. So.
Nice. Tell me a little bit about the project. Tell me about, I guess, who you are and what you do on the team, and then the rest of the team, who all is on the team, and what they do.
Great. So I'm Em. I'm currently a second-year School of Drama graduate student. I do costume design specifically. So I also do some character design for games and stuff, which is how I got involved with this project. So the other members of my team, we're collectively August Wilson Cycle is our team name. The other members of our team are Hyoen Kim, who is our producer, Zoltan Jing, who is our programmer, and then we have Shara Zhang and Gloria, who are our other artists and UI artists.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's our team.
Great. So can you just tell me a little bit about who August Wilson is and what the Hill District is, and like what exactly the context is for your project?
Right. So August Wilson was a playwright, a Black playwright specifically, who was a Pittsburgh native, and one of his more well-known, I guess, legacies as a playwright is the Pittsburgh Cycle, which is, or the American Century Cycle, I believe is more what it's referred to. But it's a series of 10 plays that, except for one, all take place in Pittsburgh over the 20th century, so each decade in the 20th century. And so it's very much sort of a look at Black culture, and specifically in the Hill District or Pittsburgh. So it's very centered or focused on the culture here. And so August Wilson House, who is our client, they are currently in the process of restoring Wilson's childhood home, which resides in the Hill District. And so they partnered with CMU and the ETC to create an application that could go with the opening of the house when it does occur, I think in a year or so. And to kind of engage people more with August Wilson and the Hill District itself, particularly the younger generation kind of coming up who might not know as much about him.
Cool. So I guess tell me a little bit about what you've developed over this semester. What is your kind of final deliverable?
So we've developed an application that will continue to be developed after the semester ends. And it's an application that, again, we kind of started with sort of the broad general concept of engaging people with the Hill District, and sort of through that engaging them with August Wilson's works. So the application we created takes you through, ours specifically takes you through two different decades, the 1960s and the 1910s in the Hill District. So you kind of get to see what it would have been like at that time, sort of certain iconic things about the culture, learning about the people and the events that occurred there to get more context for what inspired Wilson to write his plays. Because if you look at a lot of his plays and people who have been interviewed who were part of his works, they talk about how it really captured just the life of a lot of Black people at those times. And it really resonated with a lot of them. Like they felt like they were just watching themselves on a stage. So really capturing what he observed as a child, what inspired him, was what we aimed to do when we created this application. So it's a game that you can just play through. You collect photos as you experience these different events and scenes that sort of give you context for the time periods.
Interesting. So I think we have a video. I'll pull it up, and we can just continue to kind of talk over it, because I think some of the things that are said in the video you've covered, but let me bring this over very eloquently. So let me go full screen, and we'll bring up. Okay. Ooh. There we go. Okay, so I'm just playing it on my computer so people can see it. Of course, I'm sure you're very familiar with the video. You're very familiar with the project, I'm sure. Yeah. So your target audience is students, correct? Or is
Yes.
young.
High school students more specifically, but anyone can engage with the app, but it is sort of aimed towards high school students because August Wilson House does have some, or they would like to kind of get involved with schools. So if it wanted to be used in schools, it definitely can, or in educational setting.
Okay. So are there plans then to incorporate it into the classroom in any schools around the Hill District area, or?
I believe that is a goal. I don't want to like speak for them
Right.
specifically in saying that, but I believe whenever we created this app that was a goal or like a potential future goal. Also, sorry, I don't know if you can hear the truck beeping in the background, unfortunately.
It's fine. My dog was whining earlier, so its background sounds all over the place. Cool. I guess you talked about. I mean, and I'm seeing here in the video, focus on the 1910s and the 1960s. How did you pull in inspiration, and how did you do research about those time periods and bring those into your project?
Yeah, so the research was sort of a combination of doing practical research into that time period and specifically into Black culture and history of those time periods, as that obviously does tend to differ a bit from a lot of history that's centered on like white culture and other things. And then also reading August Wilson's plays. And of course, his plays aren't like direct historical like biographies of anything, but they do make use obviously of events that did occur at those times. So sort of looking at it through the lens of how August Wilson wrote about it, and then also just looking at what, historically did happen, and seeing, like, looking for photos where we could find them. Obviously the 1910s, there's not as many available, but looking for photos where we could find them, looking at music specifically. Music is a really big part of his works and of this culture, so that was kind of an important thing to look at. So yeah, that was kind of the research we did, was sort of going between the two to really get a collective sense of that.
Interesting. So I guess to conclude, because unfortunately, we are time limited. I'd love to keep talking about this, but to conclude, what's something that either you personally or you as a team are just really proud of, or just really happy with your project as a final outcome?
Well, personally, I think what I'm really proud of is how our app turned out, because it did certainly go through quite a few different iterations up until halves, or the halfway point of the semester. And so I'm very happy what we were able to create for the end product. And I'm really happy that the client enjoys it, and that it does feel like it can engage people with something they might not know as much about, without it being like a just throw information in your face.
Right.
So yeah, and also of course for me, this was like the first time I've worked on an application before, so that was pretty cool. But that's, a personal win for me, I guess.
Yeah, that's exciting. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Em, for coming on and talking about this. It's really fascinating, and you can find out more by going to their development blog, which is going to be augustwilsoncycle.etc.cmu.edu, I believe.
Yes, I think that's
something like
correct.
that. You can find it on the CMU website. So thank you so much, Em, for joining us.
Sure. Awesome. It was great to see you, Jack.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Great. Okay. So that was the August Wilson cycle, of course. Really fascinating project, and actually Em is, obviously she said from the School of Drama, so it's really exciting to see the ETC connecting with these other departments. And next up on our docket of second year projects is going to be Interactive Academy. And so joining us for this portion will be Karen and Lawrence. Hello.
Hey Jack, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, excited. It's a big day.
Yes, it's so nice to see you both. It's so weird to be seeing other people now after
Right.
exclusively seeing the same 6 people or 5 people for the whole semester.
Exactly.
So, this is great. So we can go ahead and jump just straight into it. If you want to just introduce yourselves and what you do on the project, and then introduce your team who isn't here currently but obviously exists. Otherwise, your project wouldn't. But yeah.
Sure. I'm Lawrence. I am one of the co-designers on the project, as well as the writer and the assistant producer.
Nice.
I'm Karen. I'm the producer on the project, as well as the sound designer.
Awesome.
And then we have a whole mess of people. We have a big team this year. So we have Ragja is our programmer. Sherry was co-designer with me, as well as helped with programming. Siley was our tech and environmental artist, and Jamie was our other programmer and co-artist.
Great. So just give me a little sense of what the project is, what you've been developing. I know you are working with a client this semester, so about kind of their goals and what you've delivered to them.
Sure, I'll take this one. So our project is working with the research group that works with Inanimate Alice. So Inanimate Alice has been a series of digital novels spanning all the way back to the Flash days of 2005. And primarily their work focuses on a little bit of entertainment, but they've been leaning more into digital literacy. They came to the ETC to see how their project and their framework and what they have can evolve into more STEM and STEAM fields, and that's where we came in. So on top of taking like the framework that they've laid out with characters, their world, the tone of their work, we also worked with the research group to inject different STEAM learning objectives into our project as a way to spark interest in STEAM subjects for middle schoolers. There's a lot of moving pieces here for sure.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So I do, as a side note right now, for anybody who is watching the live stream, feel free to enter questions in the YouTube chat. I have that pulled up, so if you enter a question, I can ask the team. But I can keep going. I can go all day, and I will be going all day. Anywho, I guess this will also maybe be for you, Lawrence, but so how did you go about developing a narrative that functions both as an effective story and also as an educational toolkit that has verifiable results?
Yeah, that was definitely a big one. That was a big challenge for us. And a lot of that came from going back into the archives and experiencing past Inanimate Alice episodes. Before we even really got started thinking about learning objectives, we dove right into the episodes and played through the first 5, took copious notes, had a lot of discussions, and really just talked out a lot of the details of it, because quite frankly, some of the episodes do seem confusing at face value. There are some dark moments. There were a lot of times playing some of the episodes where I thought, how does this get used in the classroom?
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of deep diving into some of the research, we found out it's used not as a teaching tool as like Math Blaster was or some of those other like educational games back in the day, but more of utilizing ambiguity in the narrative as jumping off points of something will happen in the story and it gets the player to ask, okay, why? And allowing them to kind of fill in those gaps with their own assumptions or own experiences. So as someone who's written poetry and other ambiguous style stuff, it was a good parallel for me to ride. But narrative-wise, again, a lot of it just came from previous episodes of harnessing that ambiguity, using those characters, using those situations, and just making sure it was able to kind of ride along with some of our designs, like having Brad, who normally helps out the protagonist Alice. We decided to flip that to give the player more agency and therefore have Alice help Brad more, primarily in the plot.
Interesting. And kind of in response to that, and I'm queuing up your video in the background to just play, so people can see what the project looks like. So did you get a chance at all to play test this with students in your target demographic?
Yeah, so I can take this one. So our target demographic has been 7th grade students, well, mostly aimed towards middle school students. 7th grade was a nice middle ground to aim with. We got to playtest with 3 teachers and their respective 7th grade students, and we started playtesting a little bit before half, which is the half point of the semester, and we've been sort of consistently playtesting with them every 2 weeks or so, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like me to elaborate some of the playtest results that we have given?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the big takeaway was using these using game development to teach to sort of spark interest in STEAM subjects was an effective way to go. People who didn't seem to be interested in programming at first kind of saw this as not as daunting as a thing as it would be if they encounter that in real life. We sort of lowered that threshold to expose code to them. And also, I believe with our second chapter where we build texturing and coloring, a lot of students, they took, I think one of the students, they took like 6 screenshots as they texture through a originally gray and untextured scene, and that really fits the create and share educational objective that was provided up by our clients. Lawrence, do you have anything to add?
No, yeah, I was going to add in the RICS framework, but yeah, you touched on that, so that's perfect.
Yeah, it was very coincidental that as soon as you were talking about the gradients and the color activity, like that was immediately what was in the video, so that perfectly lined up. And I played through your project. I think a build you sent out around softs, and yeah, it was honestly really interesting, very very approachable. Did you find anything from play testing it of maybe we've gone too far in terms of maybe making this require too much interpretation, or making it we've made it too easy, and so it's not engaging them?
Yeah, writing that line, that ambiguity line, both in some of the narrative as well as trying to integrate it into design, was a really tough line to ride. So I know, especially design-wise. We definitely learned the importance of redundancy, and while sometimes that's a word you don't like to hear in your work, we learned that when it came to delving into this educational side, redundancy can easily be an amazing ally to have, and one you should definitely use.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess to conclude, because unfortunately we're approaching time, as interesting as this is, I would like to hear from you both just something that you're either as a team very proud of accomplishing with this, or personally something that you're just very proud of with the project.
So I could take this one. So I think when we were gathering client testimonials, Lawrence sent a bunch of questions to them, and one of the things that they said, it helped them clarify their goals instead of just bring them closer to their goals. So that was something. So they mentioned that they learned things that they didn't know they needed to know from what we've done. So we're definitely really proud of that.
Yeah, I'd say for me, our second chapter of content, I think, highlights a lot of the big things we were trying to hit in very concrete ways, while still working within that nebulous space of ambiguity. Chapter 1, I think, works on some levels, and we were successful on some fronts, but that was also kind of our first step into the field. And then post halves, when we started developing chapter 2, we really had our feet wet at that point. And I'm particularly proud of how Chapter 2 turned out.
Yeah, I remember Chapter 2, when you're adding the colors, right? I've played similar things in which, you kind of recolor a grayed out world. And so I think that's like a familiar, approachable thing of recoloring a world, but then to be incorporating that process of how it works, how it happens, I think was really interesting. Well, great. Thank you so much, Lawrence and Karen, for joining us to talk about this. This was really great to hear it straight from you. So
yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Okay, so that was Interactive Academy course with all kinds of interesting takeaways from developing an interactive educational toolkit. And our final project for the first project portion of the live stream is going to be Protochamp, and joining us from Protochamp will be Michael Liu. So we can bring him in now and shift over. Hey, Michael. Can you hear me? Joining into audio. You're connected now?
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Great. Yeah, it was just funny moments of not hearing things. It's all good. Cool. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this all-day stuff. How are you today?
I am getting by, today's the big day. So yeah. It's like the wedding bells are ringing. So it's great. We're so excited. Again, just to reiterate to anybody watching in the live stream right now, feel free to post questions for the team as we talk about their project. And so, Michael, just to introduce yourself and introduce the project, can you just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do on the team, and about your team and what you all are building this semester?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Michael. I'm the producer on the team. We have a team of 6 people. It's a relatively big team. We have Ryan as the technical artist. We have Simon as the 3D artist. Aubrey is the UI UX designer on the team. And we have Stephanie and Eton as programmers on the team. So our team is on a discovery project that basically is trying to explore the engagement behind actual gaming. Then that is the initial question that we were set to answer at the beginning of the semester. So we then did research on like existing products like Ring Fit Adventure and the Peloton, and just we learned that they are already succeeded in providing engaging exercise experience on their designed hardware. So our focus is more on like how can we provide engaging exercise gaming experience at the same place of where people are currently working from home every day. Like, so the story that we are going to tell is that people now spend like almost all day long sitting in front of their desk, and we want to have exercise happen in that same physical space. So we're designing extra games based on the exercise pedal that could easily fit on the people's decks, so that people can also have the chance to exercise while they are working or whenever they got the time. And so throughout the semester, we built a total of 6 prototypes on this platform that we selected. and with each entertaining several design questions we have. And also on top of that, we also create a long-term experience that covers 2 different exercise patterns.
Nice. Can you talk a little bit about your development timeline? Because you mentioned 6 prototypes. So that's a lot of prototypes to develop over the semester. How did you prioritize those? How did you identify which ones are successful in a short period of time?
Yeah, I can talk a bit more about that. So for most prototypes, we were doing just a 1-week sprint. We usually spend the first 1 or 2 days of the week just brainstorming on the gameplay or trying to figure out the design pillars of the prototypes. And we would then move on to the development process, and we would have a playable build usually by Friday morning so that we could spend the whole day just playtesting and see if there's room for necessary like improvements or we are missing some content that is essential to answer the design questions we proposed earlier. So after we make sure that those questions are answered or there's like not some minor improvement for us, we would just say that okay, we are now ready to move on to the next development circle.
Interesting. So then I'm just gonna pull up in the background. I'll be playing your video so that people can see what exactly things look like, and I'll just be playing it on mute. Let me go full screen with this. So can you just talk a little bit about how you evaluated like the efficacy of a workout? Is it just from because it seems like from what I understand, part of how you're defining exergaming is like a way to distract yourself from like the pain of working out, which I mean would be huge for me. So is it just about how distracting it is, or how much it makes you work out, or I guess could you go into detail about that?
Yeah, for sure. I think currently what we have in our games implemented is like we track the amount of time you spend on like paddling or the workout. We tend to focus more on like matching the exercise patterns like HIIT, the high intensity interval training, and the low intensity steady state training patterns. We tend to focus more on that rather than on evaluating the efficacy. So we have future plans of like adding heart rate data from the Fitband or similar products, but that's kind of out of scope in the first place, since we do not expect our target audience to have those by hand. And for the criteria, we definitely have the discretion from physical discomfort on the top, since we kind of believe that is the key to have like gamers to do more exercise.
Nice. So let's see. Sorry, I just have your video up in the background. So can you talk about some of the prototypes that you created? And I know you made 6 of them, so maybe pick 1 or 2 favorites that you had through the semester.
Yeah, I would say I personally like the rhythm game in which we have the pose detection through webcam. That in that one we tried like using the webcam to capture the upper body motion for the players, and the gameplay for that is that you have to paddle at a certain speed range, and meanwhile you have to like match your hand with the actual notes in the game. That's how we call that a rhythm game, obviously. So that one works really well because you have when we play testing that, players tend to be focusing mostly on like how can I match with the notes to get a higher point instead of realizing that okay, I'm actually doing a workout right now. So that's definitely the favorite one, and also has a lovely monkey model as a character.
I think I've just seen the monkey, so I can immediately understand why it's a favorite, because it already won my heart over. Were there? It sounds like maybe then you have a few best practices in mind for developing a successful exergame. Seems like managing, if you can manage multiple tasks simultaneously with the exercise itself, right?
Yeah.
It's about distraction and less about I guess how do you balance like distraction, just pure distraction, with like providing interesting rewards for players?
Yeah, I think that's, I can talk about in like two ways that we've tried so far that tend to be like working in the extra gaming field. I think one thing is to provide like instant feedback. It could be either audio or visual, just help players to enter the flow and stay focused on the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is to have just the right amount of challenges, and that means that based on our experience, the lack of challenges would usually cause players to lose interest in the game, and just what's happening on the screen, they will not stay focused on that. And too much difficulty would also result in forcing players to get out of the flow, and thus they get aware of the fact that they're actually doing exercise. So it's kind of tricky to like balance the amount of challenges in the game and help them stay focused.
Yeah. This one with the monkey hitting the music notes is really interesting, because it seems like you're kind of splitting the connection between your feet and your hands in an interesting way, because your hands are kind of moving in a pedal motion at the same time as your feet. And so I think there's also maybe an element of like core exercise as well in that. I don't know how much of that is true, but in my mind, which is not really a completely in shape mind, I have to admit, that's the way muscles and bodies work, is, you lift your arms up and you get muscles. So I have to assume that. So I guess since we're approaching time, I'd love to hear from you something that either you personally or you as a team are just really proud of with this project and really happy with as an outcome.
Yeah, I think personally for me, I think I'm glad to see that in our project we have a good learning curve for this project. So like for every prototype we build, we tend to find out something that we didn't know before, and then we will carry that on to build our next prototypes. And I'm also happy to see that in the end we have summarized all of our previous findings in the action gaming, and then we use that to build a final deliverable, like a long-term experience. That's what I'd like to see, and I'm very happy to see that work out.
Interesting. So are you working on carrying this forward?
Yeah. So I think there's like two directions. The first is like we like to publish what we learned throughout this process into some like articles, and second is like we trying to have this long-term experience like more polished, and hopefully so that more players can be able to get access to them.
Interesting. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Michael. This is super interesting, and I think you all discovered some really helpful stuff. At just the right time, because yesterday I stood up from my desk and nearly fell over because I'd been sitting for about 8 hours straight. So cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me here.
Yeah. See you around, Michael.
Yeah.
Great. So, of course, that was Michael from from Protochamp, of course. And with that, that brings us to the conclusion of the first project portion of the live stream. And so now we'll move on for the next about 50 minutes, 55 minutes, to talking about the other major class that first year students take in their first semester during their immersion, during that immersion semester, visual storytelling. We have two special guests joining us for the first portion of this section, and we'll have another special guest joining later alongside them. And so now we can welcome Ralph Tuccio and John Destler. Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Going good.
I love the background.
Oh, thank you. I was making my way around the fest.
Yeah?
Yes. I was schmoozing.
It's good to hear. Schmooze anyone notable?
Nobody yet.
Okay.
Everybody's notable, Jack. Everybody.
Great. So how are you both doing this morning?
It's a wonderful day here in Pittsburgh. A little cool, but okay.
Yeah, I'm wearing long johns, so we're getting by.
Yes.
Great. So thank you for joining me today. I guess just to get started, if you do you want to open with your
I would like to ask you a question, Jack, if you don't
Yes.
mind, for us opening.
Yes.
What do you remember from Visual Story?
What do I remember from Visual Story?
Yeah. I'm just curious how you, the wiser soul now, and you've been in projects, right?
Mhm.
What do you recall before we groove into this?
Well, I think one of the major highlights of the class, just on a personal note, was the team that I was assigned to work with. One of the advantages I think of Visual Story is that you do get to work with a single project team for like the course of the whole semester, as opposed to BVW where you're kind of swapping in and out of teams and you hardly get to know someone until they're gone, and you are nose back to the computer for the next 2 weeks. So it was really great to just have kind of a core set of people who I knew very well early on, and now I'm working with one of them on this current project, which is great. But yeah, I think
and you probably sit around and reminisce about the good old Visual Story days, right?
Yes, yeah. Karen and I are always chatting about the auteurs and the torture that Arnav put us through with his high standards.
Of course. Well, if you want to, I didn't mean to sidetrack you. If you want to roll the vid and then we'll groove, yeah.
No, yeah. The other thing.
Arnav did have high standards.
Yes. Hopefully he's not watching, but Arnav, we love you. We're sending love out to Arnav. Yeah, I think the other thing that was just really nice was like the freedom that the class allowed. It was like, it was really getting a chance to kind of just explore, experiment, have fun with a medium that, I've played with in the past a little bit before, but to really just get a chance to like develop something with a group of writing something and filming something and editing something ourselves was just really interesting.
It's always always fun to ask students after the fact, after visual story.
Mhm.
And it seems like the further away they get, the more they appreciate visual story. Like during the time we ask them, not so much.
Yeah.
But as you go forward, it feels like they all come back with, oh yes, that was so helpful. So
Yeah.
hopefully we did a bit of that this semester.
Yeah.
And we could talk about the remote switch over, how we moded that into this situation. So again, I'm going to default to you, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for the people watching, then who are kind of unfamiliar with the class, and the main thrust of the class, I guess could you both talk about your vision of what the class brings to the ETC curriculum? And,
Happiness, joy, peace,
yes.
and all man.
Yeah. So
Other than
I guess what is it for the students who graduate that, you know, they come to realize, however much later, how impactful the class was?
I'll default to Ralph first.
Well, I could tell you a quick story, and it actually references our good friend we just spoke about, Arnav.
Really?
Yeah, I just had a meeting with Arnav a couple of days ago, and he had went to a View conference which is a lot of behind the scenes about the Mandalorian, the making of, and how they do it, and script writing and visual storytelling, all that stuff.
Mhm.
And he did a postmortem, wrote a postmortem on the conference, which is, everyone's supposed to do if they go to a conference. And I read it, and I thought it was great. I thought that was really interesting. I wanted to talk to him about it, so I did. And one of the things and we talked a lot about behind the scenes stuff and the making of, but what he said was he sat in on a talk with Jon Favreau, I believe it was Jon Favreau. And he said Jon Favreau was talking about story and talking more, but putting it not in the narrative context, but in a visual story context. And Arnav says, I heard all this before. It was like, this was all like, I said to the person I was with, I says, yeah, I've heard this. I know what this is. And it was because of the visual story class he had taken and had written. A lot of the things we go over are not things that are aesthetic or I shouldn't say aesthetic, but are rare. There are things that Hollywood, the people who in Hollywood are working on these things are using them all the time. These are sort of basic building blocks that you riff off of, like any other musician who has a basic sense of structure. You riff off of structure, whether you're blues, jazz, classical, or whatever. But there's the basic foundation is there. And we hear that a lot. I hear that a lot. John, I hear that a lot about students who come back 4, 5, 8 years from now. And I hear it all the time about, wow, I can't tell, even 8 years later, they're still talking about what they learned in visual story and using it in talking to people and creating the work.
The core thing I like is making the connections, right? So the stuff we talk about have been around for hundreds of years, right? The way people consume entertainment, those kinds of things. So Ralph and we both come at it from different directions, and trying to convert that into a connection to the students too, the programmers versus the producers versus the artists versus the sound people, and bringing all that together into a connection to their future, their interests, their goals. And I think that's why it takes a little bit of time. In the flurry of first semester, everybody's just trying to get things done. But then after the fact, you start realizing all the tools that hopefully the ETC is providing, not just visual story, but how all of these sort of roll together. And in the last few years too, it feels like we've been overlapping BVW a lot more. The story rounds and those kinds of things seem to supplement each other real well now too, I think. That and happiness and peace to man and all that stuff too.
Yeah. Goodwill to all.
Yeah, that's it, right?
Yeah. World peace, right?
Yes,
that's the diplomatic answer. Yeah.
And the thing you mentioned earlier too, Jack, about the teams, that's intentional too, how the BVW rotates. And the mission for BVW is to expose you to as much as possible, not just technologies, but the dynamics of teams and how you handle yourself under pressure and managing time and all that stuff. And what we try to do in visual story is to segue you into the first project course, which is where you have to think more in long length process, planning, iterating, those kinds of things. So hopefully that's what we help do as well.
One of the things is that when I first started teaching this course, way before John came on board.
That's when they were inventing fire or wheels or stuff like that, right?
Nah, it wasn't quite that.
Okay,
we were just like chipping rocks into like sharp points. Anyway, we were. I came into it with totally, because my background was all in film and filmmaking and educational entertainment and edutainment. That back then was the word everyone used, and it was it was more of a film-centric course. It had, I taught at Pittsburgh Filmmakers for years, and I taught production, I taught technical directing, I taught, all that stuff, lighting. And so I came and approached it as much like, it was pretty much film. We're gonna make film, and this is for preparing you for work in film. But then after the years, and actually Randy Pouch sat in on my first class, which made me nervous as hell, because I had known Randy before. But he sat in on my first class, and he sat in the back, always sat way in the back. In my first class, I had 20 people or 15 people in my first ETC class. So it wasn't where it is now. It's 80 people in class. So, and he made me nervous as hell. He'd sit there and take notes, and after each class, he'd send me the notes about what worked, what didn't work, yada, yada, yada. So that helped me quite a bit, start formulating how I needed to change this course and move it from a traditional filmmaking class to more. And I had done interactives. I was working on interactive storytelling, usually for education, in the early 90s. I had been working on some huge, big interactive projects. So I had a really good sense of interactivity and storytelling, interactive narrative, even although it was for educational purposes and not entertainment. So I started seeing how I needed to change my idea of what this course was like to fit into the ETC goals and what the students really were looking for and wanted. And that started happening. And that's been sort of where we've been going with John and I. Every year we develop new things and try different things. Yeah.
Yes, I think that sort of long-term change over time, I think, transitions well into the very rapid change that we've all needed to make to working remotely. And when I went through Visual Story, obviously we were all in Pittsburgh and together and able to work on these projects together. So I guess, how has the course changed this semester with everybody working remotely?
So I just want to say, I think I could speak for both of us. Going into this, we were a little tentative, trying to convert this and not knowing how it was going to come out. But I don't want to shortchange anybody. I think all the teams this year really stepped up. I think even the remote added some ingenuity into the mix. We got a lot more animation and interactive things this semester. So I think the value of this actually widened us out a little bit. I mean, still, you can't. Some teams could not get together and do that kind of thing, but the world is like that now. And I still think the students really raised the bar, stood up to the challenge, and really produced. I think when you go around to the festival, you can see that. You go around and check out the pieces, you can really see that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think also a number of things, right? I was a little nervous. I mean, I had done we both had, I guess, last semester in the spring 2020, when our classes were right in the middle of the term, went all remote. Everything went into lockdown. But I was a little nervous about starting off from scratch, because I had gotten all my lectures out of the way. As you know, I front load all my lectures at the beginning of the semester, and then we start working on projects and start applying those ideas. I wasn't nervous about it. But to throw a lot of shade towards John, he had really created an online presence that made it enjoyable, made it fun for the students to come in, a little opening to the class, and it was really great. And John really did a great job. Also, I want to say without John, I don't think, without John being part of this remote situation, I don't think it would have been as successful as it was. But I agree with John. He, it really was successful. I mean, it was the typical things that there's not real life contact is sort of a bummer. We run into students in the hall, like I run into you, Jack, in the hall and say, hey, how you doing? How's the project? That doesn't happen anymore, and that's a problem. That hurts. But I will tell you that one of the interesting things about is, and I noticed this at the end of the semester, usually when teams are working together, we had it in the past, we've had not a lot, but we have 2 or 3 teams every year that sort of just their personalities clash and they don't get along really well. And I was just talking to John last week, or just the last class about this, that I'm thinking we didn't experience that so much this time. And I'm wondering it's because of the remoteness of it. They weren't in a room together. They didn't have that physical sort of contact with each other. And I'm wondering whether that helped in a sense of leveling out the egos maybe, or the sort of that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I mean, it's just a theory. It's just an idea I had. And I was wondering about that.
I think there's a bit of common support we give each other now too. We all sort of know that we're up against this unforeseen obstacle of remote and things like that. So I think we're giving each other a little bit more understanding. I think we're giving each other a little more attention, because we feel like we're missing something, right? So, and sometimes we even overcompensate that. Feels like we try to over communicate. But overall, again, I'm going to give this class, kudos like crazy, because I think we were just really pleasantly surprised at everything that they produced and how they did it too. Because really, our class is about the process and thinking things through. I really think they did a good job at that as well.
Yeah, they did. And one of the things I keep on reinforcing to them, that this is not just a one-off, this remote world. It's not a one-off. I believe that this is going to be happening more and more, even as the COVID goes away. As companies start realizing they could save a ton of money, and and they do it now. People working remotely as they're coming into a building. And I'm really, and it's because it is working, and I see it as a way of that it's going to be in the future. I think this is happening more and more, even in a post-COVID world.
Yeah, and I think some of those visual story principles carry through to it's like we're working in exclusively through our screens now, right? And so the ways in which that we communicate through these media with each other is more important than ever. But I do see that we did have our guest join.
Well, there you go.
Believe. Oh wait, I think he dropped out.
He's in the. I know he's in the midst of manning another booth. Too,
yeah.
He could not be clear for a little while.
Yeah. So he might come back in a minute.
10:30, I think.
Yeah, and the cool thing, what I was hoping we could do. That's why I wanted to get your perspective, because you're midway. And Ralph gave us the future student, right? The student that went out into the world for a bit. We got you, who's, I don't want to say tailing out, who's successfully finishing or whatever.
Spinning out is more the word I would use. Is like rapidly spinning.
And then when
out.
Ibrahim joins, then he's going to be able to give us the current perspective. And the philosophy, the tools we hopefully hand out do change over time a bit. But it's really cool to see that they hold.
One of the things I'm always impressed of, and it doesn't always happen, but it happens occasionally, where these students come in and they have a sense of what they want to do, but after going through 2 years of this program, they end up in some really cool places they had no idea they were going to end up in. For example, great example, 2 years ago, Tara Molesworth was a graduate, and she was more of a music person and kind of, she wasn't a gamer. She didn't necessarily want to work in games. And where she's working at now, she's working on the Mandalorian's crew as a pipeline producer for visual effects. And where the hell did, she said, I never would have thought I ended up here, but through contacts and through that background, that wide sort of educational sort of foundation she got at the ETC, and it's not even so much as the tech stuff she learned, it's so much as the working with people, working in teams. That's really, who knows? And there's so many other stories like that when people end up working in really cool jobs, creative jobs that they really didn't have and didn't think they'd ever end up in because they didn't have that background for it. But the ETC provides that wide range of skill set, working with the people, working in teams, that you can apply your skills in a wide variety of things. It's not a narrow sort of thing. You don't just end up being, well, I'm going to be a gamer and that's all I'm going to do. You may end up doing something else.
Yeah, one of the things I really appreciate about the ETC is the mix of things, the connections between things. I keep talking about connections, but so you have the BVW fundamentals, you have the faculty that's really deep into the story part of things, you have the producers, you have the technicians, and we in Visual Story, I like to think that we keep sliding it through all of that stuff, our philosophies, our rules, our guides. Like even when VR start coming around, how do we translate what we're teaching into that space? And that backs up into the UI development of the artists, and then that backs up into the storytellers and the world builders and the level game designers. You could see it back up into all of that stuff. It's really fulfilling, I think, to see that mix of stuff.
Yeah, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it's turned into a really, really great course. I have to be honest, when I first started, I was always sort of had a chip on my shoulder about BBW because everyone came because of the ETC, because of BBW. And even in the early years, I'd hear students say, why am I taking Visual Story? Why don't I care about this? What do I care about that? And that has changed remarkably over the years, where people now are actually, they want to take visuals. In fact, I hear people talking about one of the reasons they come to UBC was they've heard about Visual Story being such a cool course and what we do there. And it's so that's been really rewarding to both John and I to hear those sort of hear the responses. Again, because and I own it. I mean, BBW has always been the 800-pound gorilla that sits in a room. Randy Pausch created the course, and it's been a brawl ever since. But we have risen to the occasion.
I'd like to, if we can, Jack, I don't know what your plan is or if you have a plan, but if we could just talk about the projects a little bit. I mean, not necessarily the current ones, but how we go. But like we have I'll just real quick, the first month of Visual Story is just laying groundwork. Like Ralph was even saying, it's more lecture based. We cover the fundamentals of visual guides and visual rules. We send students out on these missions or assignments, photographic or mini video. We had them do self-portraits this year, which we're kicking.
Which self-portraits is really, really an interesting, and I'm sorry, John, interrupted. I just want to highlight that one. I used to do self-portraits for years when I was teaching film in Pittsburgh filmmakers. And it was the first thing they did. And I was always amazed that sometimes that first project, even without any experience in filmmaking, their self-portraits would be really, really good, honest, true, intimate. That even at the end of the semester, when they learn all these skills, the production weren't as good sometimes as the first piece, just because not because of the technical issues, but because of the honesty wasn't there. The honesty of being and this year we did that because obviously no one's around, and they were kicking. They kicked.
Yeah, it gave us a good opportunity for us to get to know them a little better and for them to get to know each other a little better. And then each class, we featured a few of them. So they got a chance to see each other and comment. And that's one of the nice things about the remote chat thing. In class, you can't comment things as it happens. And now we have the chat, so you can actually read along and see, hey, I like what a wonderful music or what, that kind of thing. So that actually helped our class a lot this semester, I think, is the live stream of communication going back and forth. And I do want to call attention to our TAs. They kicked butt this year.
Yeah.
They were on everything, and they helped us moderate the chat and the classes. We had no worries. It feels like they just picked up everything we needed.
Yeah, they were great.
I can't say enough about them. But I can't probably because we only have so much time. But I'll stop.
You have 30 minutes to say anything you like about
Lordy. So anyway, we got these foundation courses, which is kind of cool. There's these just little exercises where you go out, and I think the students really had fun with that. And the other thing Ralph and I have noticed nowadays you know, back years we had to go out and scout out some kind of camera. I remember my first video camera, you had to attach it to the VCR in the living room and have a long cable to go to wherever you needed it to go. And now with these phone cameras, man, we're getting quality stuff that looks just as good as any. I mean, it's amazing. So they'll go out and they'll take these pictures or make their self-portraits, and it looks like cinematic features, you know, really
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And the thing about that, we've moved away from this idea of like high-end equipment. We're teaching visual fundamentals, visual story. And you could do that with, you know, the iPhones. The images are great in low light and good lighting, you know. So, and we don't have lighting. We don't teach it. We used to teach that when we were in person, and we talked about it. But it's a thing about, again, we're not teaching someone to go out and be a director of film in Hollywood or whatever. We're teaching them the fundamentals of this visual storytelling.
The other thing that's kind of cool too is, you know, we'll bring up something like the rule of thirds, and we teach them about the grid that goes on, and then they all look at their phones, and that grid's on your phone. You can turn it on. It's like, hey, yeah, you've been using this for how long now?
It's following me.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm even thinking about you know, we had those cameras, and Jack, you know the cameras we have, and they were, you know, they're okay, they're called prosumer cameras. They kind of bridge that gap between professional and consumer cameras. And I'm thinking, you know what? The phones, I'm thinking of maybe we just buy a handful of phones, of good iPhones, and just have people use those as cameras, as opposed to buying more of these you know, shoulder cameras that you hold up like this. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, it was a little frustrating. I'll speak as a musician years back, you know, trying to get recorded or trying to record your own stuff. We had little cassette players beside each other trying to do multi-tracks. And then when everybody started getting these DAWs or these systems on their computers and everyone could record and make their own albums, I got frustrated at first. It was like, oh man, now, you know, we're getting a lot, but it gave accessibility to everything. And I think the same thing's happening now. With a camera in everybody's hands, everyone's able to start creating and discovering more. I think people are feeling more comfortable on camera now because everyone is on camera way more. All of these things through time. And now we're talking about the immersive space and visuals in immersive space. So it's just real exciting. I think it's exciting to just see how this is developing, and our current state is just, it's really a fun time. But anyway, on these primary or preliminary assignments, the students kicked butt because they were all out there and they were sort of documenting. It turned into a diary of sorts. Like we have them go out and do an assignment on lines or space or whatever, but they come back and we could see what they're thinking through these photos now, right? And or we could see their environments that they are reinterpreting because they're stuck there now for months. You can be in a space for so long now, all of a sudden you're noticing the things that you never noticed before. I like to tell the students, you know, we screw you up when you watch movies from now on, because you're noticing the things we talked about. You know, you're noticing the rules and the camera moves and all that kind of thing. It's really fascinating. So we got the visual basics done in the first month, and then the teams do their logos, and then the last 2 months is the main beef project. So I don't know if you wanted to talk about those. And once Ibrahim gets here, we can see how he handled those, that kind of thing. But
yeah, Ibrahim just jumped in, so we can bring him in now.
Grab up before he leaves again.
Yeah. So he was I'll wait till he gets here before I say too much about him. But he's a very active vocal. You know, that's the other thing about this class is we had them active. You know, they actually participated, and on a screen, through a screen, it's really tough to do that.
Well, I don't know. You know, John, I think that I was wondering about that. I think that the difference between being in person in a class live, as opposed to being online, I noticed, and you mentioned this earlier, we had a lot more activity in the chat than we do when we're live, if you noticed that.
Yeah, we have them sleeping in our audience when we're live, usually.
We're on their phones. Now we don't even know if they're on their phones.
Well, we did a few things just to keep them active. You know, every once in a while we do a role in the chat or something just to make sure, because a lot of them, you know, let's admit it, some of them just log in and walk away from their screens.
But we had a lot of people asking questions in the chat. We had a lot of people making comments on what they saw in the chat, and more than happens in a real class. In a live body class. Yeah.
Pleasantly surprised, because it's too easy to fade out, especially toward the end of the semester. We still had them interacting, so that was way cool. I give them a lot of credit for that, even in the burnout session.
I think we should do remote classes from now on.
There you go. Well, I don't know about that. I miss the snacks.
You missed the magic visual story beans.
Yeah, that's right. The magic beads.
Yeah, I don't know how they got by without those this year.
Yeah, that's right.
I know, Jack. I didn't give him. I didn't even mention it to him this week. You should have mentioned. People should be talking about it as some mythical thing, you know, some real thing. Because I didn't even mention it. But I'm sure they're hearing about it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, wait. So it looks like.
So for listeners who were there that don't know what magic visual story means, I used to say at the beginning of the class in person, I'd say, you know, Jesse Shell does, you know, he always juggles, does the juggling thing. And what I do is I give drugs.
Got it.
I give drugs up. And my drugs were chocolate covered espresso beans that I called magic visual story beans. But I couldn't do that this year because obviously.
So Ibrahim, we just spent 25 minutes talking about you.
No, you did.
So, what I don't know how much you were able to dip in because I know you were busy doing other things, but we sort of got a little bit of story of a student who experienced visual story and graduated and talked back at us, and Jack was kind enough to share a little bit of his. Just give us if you don't mind, give us like your bottom line impression of how this connected or what you got out of it. And let's be clear to the audience where you're from right now, where you're located.
Okay, so I'm currently in Lebanon.
Yeah, so the locality is pretty far away, right? So how'd that work for you? How'd this work for you?
How did this work for me? It's
just in
basically
general.
8 a.m. is basically, it's basically like a 9 a.m. class is 4 p.m. for me. So basically, being morning and drowsy isn't really the thing for me because it's late in the afternoon. And then it's basically just everyone's hyped up and going about it, and like no one's talking in the chat. I'd be like, "Oh, open space, let's fill it up."
Yes, you filled it up.
Yeah, you did. You were great at that. I appreciated that, even.
But your impression, like, if you could just give us like your one or two line summary of what you think this was. Yeah, what did you just do with us?
Wow, what did I just do?
And keep in mind, there might be some. Keep in mind, there might be some prospective students watching. That's all.
Yeah, right.
No pressure, buddy.
Keep in mind also, hey, Ibrahim, keep in mind we also haven't given grades out. So
yeah.
Oh, that kind of thing. Yeah.
I'm only kidding. It's only a joke.
It's fine. It's getting a bit hard in here.
Yeah.
Oh, so John and Ralph are awesome. They're
there you go.
wonderful
Okay.
People. Basically, highly recommend this class. Even if it wasn't mandatory, go ahead and take it. But I'll be honest, it's a lot of insight, and basically how to think about things, how to make something aesthetically pleasing, and that was something that really drew on me. So basically, just doing these simple shifts, or, ooh, what if you don't have anything moving in the background, just having something in the foreground, and you see it a lot, and you're like, oh, I see it a lot, and I like it. Ooh, it's called flat space. Oh, what if you see something that's deep and up in the eyes, and how do you lead an eye from one place to another? Like, it's because something that happens subconsciously, and now you know the reasoning behind it, which is interesting, and which I kind of like, because now you're going in the mindset of basically how do you make something intuitive. Instead of it being intuitive, you now go through the process of it. And now when I watch any kind of medium, it's like, oh, they did this and did that. Like one movie that one series was recommended by Chris Quirk, actually, was Queen's Gambit. And I think, Ralph, you talked about this once in class.
Yeah.
And as I was watching, it was like, whoa. And you always mentioned, like, they're thinking about this. They're thinking about the decisions. They're thinking about why is her hair red? They're thinking about why the carpet is green. They're thinking about why do you go from a palette that's basically dark and dusty to basically a palette that's basically brighter at the end? Because they're doing emotional cues for this, which really opened my eyes, and I'm glad it opened in my eyes through the class. And that was interesting, and that was interesting in the first few classes that we took in the start of the semester. And then we went to projects, which were a bit of a challenge, considering how we were and where I am and where everyone else is.
If I can, yeah, Abraham, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Jack, he was on Smirk. If you were going to queue anything up, that was his team, Smirk. I'm sorry, go ahead, Ibrahim.
Thanks. Yeah, we did all the classes, and nice visual story is interesting because you're doing BVW on its own, and that's a lot of project based, and then you're doing visual story, and that's a lot of solo assignments, and then it moves also to projects, and now you have projects with visual story, and you have projects with BVW, and you're like, oh, okay. And on top of that, you had the whole online thing. So it was a different space, a different realm, and at the start of it, I think everyone was scared. Everyone was like, okay, how do we do this? How do we do this? How do we do this? Because sometimes you're meeting with people who are 7 hours difference, 7-hour time difference, 5-hour time difference, and your sleep schedule is just like all over the place, and you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But as these things came along, you'd realize like, oh, nice. You can actually trust these people. They can actually trust on you. You know how to do the handoff, and it's not like you're micromanaging people. It's more like you're learning how to deal with the situations, you face the challenges, and you're never facing the challenges on your own, because at the end of the day, you could be like, hey, this is a problem. How can we fix it? Oh, I could do this. Oh, I could do that. Oh, nice. Cool. And I think everyone in the class was willing to lend a hand when they could, which was great. Like, if we want to do specifics of what we had a problem in our side was, we had to figure out how to film people who didn't want to be filmed because they were so insecure about their faces. So, okay, that's not gonna work. What if we made it a point on a whole airplane? They were like, oh yeah, we could do an airplane thing. And yeah, basically an airplane is the same, paper is the same everywhere. So I can film footage here, you can film footage there, and we can fold it the same way, and we could just make it all over again. Ooh, all right, that's good. And someone said like, oh, if it's a paper airplane, then I can do 2D animations pretty easily. Oh, that's great. And since it's a paper airplane, we can do like, okay, does anyone know any special effects? Not much. But I know like if we put like, because it's a paper, you can do like special things. You can put like a string that's not very visible. We can try it out real quick. Oh, great. Nice. And then there was like the whole officer was like, oh, but we're filming against different cameras. Oh, what's your phone? iPhone 11. Oh, perfect. Great. What's my phone? OnePlus. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, what do you have? A DSLR. Oh, okay. We're going to use you the most. Yeah.
Use you.
We're going to use you the most. And everyone who's around him, please film with him.
Jack, can you cue that one up? It's Journey of a Paper Airplane. It's assignment 3, I believe. Would you be able to get to that?
Is it the interactive one, or is that
no?
It's assignment 4.
Oh, assignment 4. Yeah, I'm sorry, assignment 4. I keep forgetting about that doggone logo counting as the first assignment.
I know, right?
We might have to renumber these.
Yeah, just give me one moment to get over there.
Sure.
So just to be real quick, I'm just going to lay out the projects. The first one is a team logo, and it's just a bonding exercise and a way to unite you folks, which worked out well, I think. And finding branding, that's a process in the ETC too when you move into projects. And then we just had like a pipeline practice. It was a full production. You had to pull off something together just to practice that up a little bit. The next project was an interactive, just making sure that the player had some kind of agency or some kind of reason to progress the story. And then the final project was looking at your team, figuring out what skill sets you had, figuring out what you wanted to make, and just using all the lessons learned in the class. And that's where this one fell in the final project, right?
And also before that, in addition, there was 5 solo assignments. One of the things that, again, going back to the history of the class, one of the things that I quickly became aware of is we focusing all on team assignments. Sometimes individuals of the team would just sit back and let the other people do the work who had more experience in filmmaking or visual storytelling. So we went back to actually do more solo assignments. So each person individually had some experience with the concepts we were talking about. And I think that had really made a huge, huge difference.
Yeah, my favorite solo assignment, other than self-portraits now, this year has been, and you can get to these self-portraits at the festival too, right, Jack?
The self-portraits are
on the website.
Yeah, they're on the website. So if you go to the festival website, you can watch all of them.
check those out. Those are really kicking. But one of my favorite solo assignments is the visual rules. You get to pick a feature film or an animation or whatever, and you just get to dissect it a little bit. And it's great. My favorite thing is seeing pieces I've never seen before. I'll get somebody hand me a little animation or a film I've never seen and how they deconstruct it or pull these things. It's really enlightening. I really appreciate that one too. You cool, Jack?
Yeah, so I have Journey of a Paper Airplane in the background.
Yep.
Do you want me to share my screen for this so you can
Yeah,
see
if you can, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay. And let's switch over to this.
And Ibrahim, coming out the back end of this, we're gonna talk to you a bit, right?
Look at all those leading lines.
Way cool, man.
Nice piece.
Yeah, really cool. And I just want to give a little bit of a nudge or a promo to the Vizzy Awards tonight. They're going to be streamed, but I believe this might have won one, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it did.
I think it did.
Oh yeah, it did.
Of course it did, yeah. Now the thing is, I think it was editing.
You won't
if
say
I'm not-
which one, right?
well, I'm going to give that one away because
it was editing.
I do want to call this out a little bit, but it's not just about putting together the story. It's about the pacing of the story. It's about the editing. It's about the audio. It's about all of these little components.
Yeah, who did the audio? Who did the music for you again?
I did the music.
You did. Cool.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I did the music. Yeah, it's just I was a bit reluctant at first saying that I did music because the arpeggios are open for everyone to grab and see because it's a thing like 1 3 5 7, and I just played that on loop. But I picked the instruments and turned them off and on.
Yeah, so way cool. So there you go. That was and I know we're rounding in on time here, Jack. So you I don't want to ride this. You let us know what you want to do. So how do you feel about that, Ibrahim? How do you?
The audio?
Anything you want to say? No, just the piece in general. Anything you want to share? Because every time you show that, you tell me you're a little bit of frustration because people didn't notice things. Now is your opportunity to call it out.
Well, I gotta call it out. I'm gonna call out entirely YouTube's live stream saying what they didn't see.
Yeah, you have your chance right now.
Yeah,
this is it, buddy.
You're never supposed to do that, John. You're always supposed to never mess and say, well, I should have did this or I should have done that today. You never.
Well, I meant things you were proud of. That's what I'm talking about. The things that you intentionally designed into this piece is what I'm meaning. Because there was some good thought put into this, right?
There was.
Like the prison stuff. I'll give that one away, right? The prison at the beginning where it escapes from the bars.
Yeah. And also, like, there's basically the entire thing of the montage where it's happening in snow. We got lucky with that in terms of the Pittsburgh team were shooting, and then I was like, oh, we can use that to advantage. Like, it's the coldness of that.
There you go.
With the blue metal of it, and basically making it, and making this scene a bit more violent. Like, this is the dark place. And then because of my shots were basically shot on a sunny day, that was a good transition to happen for the end of it. So those were things that were lucky, and then we're like, oh, we'll take advantage of that. And the way at the bars, it seems like it's a leading line. Like John said, like it's a prison cell, and it's and like the airplane is breaking free from it. That was interesting, and that was good. And then we also tried to make sure that the flight path is always the same trajectory. If you see like in the start, it flies away between the bars, and then it's the same flight that goes behind the wall, and then it hits someone else's shoes.
Yeah.
And that's hard to coordinate, especially when you're filming in 3 different locations with people there. And at the end of the day, everyone was able to keep up, and we were able to mix and match. And also the montages were fun to work with.
So very
and were fun to mess around with.
Yeah, very appreciated. That again, the editing was really a standout here. Jack, I don't know if you want to meander to one more. We might have time to show one more. Any you guys, you want to see any specific one? We got probably time to show one more. And any group, Ralph, what do you want to show?
I'd like to let Ibrahim pick.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
I forget what the TA's picks were. We can pick one of those, or
there's
or
the
your
hula
favorite.
hoop one.
The hula hoop?
The hula hoop one with Belly.
Oh, okay. It was Intertwined. It's called, Jack, and the team was
Hula hoop.
Hula hoop, yeah.
Hula hoop, yeah.
Okay, I'm getting over there right now. Hula hoop and Intertwined.
Yeah, it was their final project as well. I think it's assignment 4.
Final project, right?
Is this one with a clock and a phone?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. That's it.
Let me just share.
The other thing that's cool too is you notice the evolving teams. The first full production, you can see what they did, and then by the time we get to these finals, you can really see the thought going into these pieces. So that, kudos to that too.
Skin, heat, and I safe from the world, though the world will try. Oh, I'm afraid of the things in my brain, but we can stay here and laugh away the fear. Numb, fine, you create a rarity of my genuine smile, so breathe, breathe with me. Can you drink all my thoughts? 'Cause I can't stand them. Intertwined, free. I've pinned each and every hope on you. I hope that you don't bleed with me. I'm afraid of the things in my brain, but we can stay here and laugh away the fear. Skin, heat, hair in your mouth, feet, touching feet, oh you.
Another kick and piece, man. I think that's another visual stored Vigies winner.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know we're wrapping up, but I definitely urge folks watching to find the other ones, either in festival or on the Visual Story channel. It's on the website, so everyone has access. You don't have to be invited, and it's really worth a watch. I'm sure you'll enjoy these.
A lot of really, really cool stuff.
Yeah. And the self-portraits too. I mean, some were charming, some were real insightful. It really
and honest. I mean, the thing about those self-portraits, to be honest, is, that's what you're really getting, and that's what filmmaking and all this is about. Is the honesty.
I'd like to give one more real quick shout out to Cloudworks.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much. We're so excited to be here today, and it's been
a heck of a ride.
Yeah.
It's all just people enjoying each other today. Mm-hmm. So you folks did a kick-ass job. Oh, kick butt job.
Yeah, don't worry. The stream is not marked for kids, so you're
Okay,
good.
fair. There you go.
But
yeah, so that's it. I'd like to thank you, Jack, for having us. This festival is really going to be something to be proud of. Visual Story, Ralph, I had a blast. Ibrahim, it was good hearing you all semester, and looking forward to seeing you next semester. So there you go.
Well, yeah, I mean, we, consider this work a love letter to, everything that we've learned at the ETC, and we, are really thankful for everything that we've learned over the last year and a half, and all the help and input that faculty have given, and how invested everybody has been in this project. It's been so wonderful to see, and I'm so thankful for everybody's input on the project, because it wouldn't be possible without anyone.
Way cool.
So
yeah, and I just want to give another real quick note. Even if you can't get into the invited festival part, the website is so packed with stuff. And for the Mac users or whoever, I mean, there are alternatives. You still get a great experience, and you really get to dig in to see what the ETC is all about. So I urge everyone to really get a chance to do that. We like to show off a little bit.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for the plug for the website. It's filled with content.
It is.
So that is festival.cmu.
Oh, get it right, Jack. Get it
CMU.edu.
right.
Oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing to reach this
say it
point.
one more time.
It's been saved in my history so much that festival.etc.cmu.edu. I know that like the back of my hand. It just slipped my mind.
You should have an overlay on your screen to give
Yes.
this to people later.
Yes.
If you could do that, that would be great.
Pull it
Cool.
up right now. Yes, thank you.
Are you
so
done
much.
with us?
Yes. Thank you so much. This has
Right.
been wonderful talking to you guys. So.
Okay, man.
Thank you for everything.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us. This is Ibrahim. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, you guys.
All right. See ya.
Okay, so that was lovely. It was lovely hearing from Ralph and John, as always, getting their perspectives on the ETC, on the first year curriculum, on just everything about how everything is formatted to develop us as students going out into the world, and so it was really wonderful to hear from them about the class. With that, we can continue on with our programming as scheduled. And so we'll be picking up once again with BBW. And so we can continue to walk around the festival space. If there are any worlds that anybody within the YouTube chat right now, anything you would want to see specifically, we can go there specifically. But we'll be going to the Carnival Sunrise area because by my watch, it is still AM here, so we're still in the sunrise portion of the festival. And so, for those of you who weren't here in the very early morning when we started, welcome. This is part of the festival space that we're walking around in now. This is the BBW Carnival space, one of them. There are two of them, just so that we can help spread guests around in the space. This morning we watched and played Let's Bounce, and we watched Let Them Eat Cake, an air console world, and Let's Bounce is a photon multiplayer turn-based world. So I think where we'll start right now, I think I made a promise a little earlier that we would begin with Drunko Brunko, which we can get a sense of how the team has decorated their space. Each team was allowed to decorate their tent however they chose, because in the normal traditional festival, students get to decorate their rooms according to the theming of their project. As long as they don't put any tape on the walls, they can do it. And so we wanted to carry that over into the virtual festival space. And so it's been really lovely seeing all the art assets provided by the BVW teams to decorate their tents. And it's been really wonderful placing these objects in our world and seeing it all come together. And so we can go ahead and check out this space right now. Drunko Brunko, we can watch just a quick clip of it to get a sense of what it's like. It is an air console project. Got Brody and Cody. Cool. So we can go ahead and hop into their Zoom call now to see if they're in, if anybody is playing right now, or we can go ahead and play with some of them. I got a chance to try this one before, but yeah, the way this one works is I, on my phone, will be, I have an app on my phone called Air Console, and it will basically act as a controller for their game. Normally, if we were together in person, we'd both be looking at the same computer screen. But because we're remote, they will be screen sharing in Zoom, and so the guests will be watching the screen share and playing off of that. So there is a little bit of latency from just Zoom screen sharing. There might be then sort of a second layer of that as we pull that and live stream it. So bear with us as we work through some of that. But let's go ahead and see what's going on in here for now. Hello.
Hi, Jack.
How's it going?
Great. And how's it going too? So good?
So far, so good. No complaints.
So good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. How's it going on your end? Are people coming through?
Yes, people coming through. There's many people here. Now we have a little break here, so it's good. Now you don't need to wait. You can just play directly. That would be
Perfect.
awesome.
Yeah, that's
Perfect.
great.
So, great. Okay. Oh, I'm in the wrong page. So I am going to put your name on here. Sorry. We have another player here. Put a name here, Jack. Okay. So our world is named Drunko Brunko.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a two-player collaborative game. So you guys have to support each other to get out of this room and catch your Uber. So yeah, in the world you are pretty drunk. So in the real world, I suggest you can grab a drink and then in the game. So every time
in the game I'm drunk. I was gonna say.
In the game you're drunk.
How did you know?
We hope you be drunk now. So or future, in the future. So yeah, you can grab any drink you want, like wine, beer, or any soft drink. That's also be good, like
Perfect.
water or the juice. It's perfect.
I've got a water lined
every
up.
Time,
So.
Awesome. That was great. Every time when you feel good, you can drink. When you feel bad, you drink. So yeah, basically you can drink anytime.
Okay.
Feel good here. And yes, so I am going to assign you into the breakout room. In the breakout room, there's another host. So the host will tell you
Hi, everybody.
what to do
We
about
have
to
a
join the
few
game.
announcements for the
Our game
festival.
don't need any
Um,
download from your desktop or laptop. So only need you have downloaded
There's
the
about
Air
50 minutes
console
left.
on your smartphone. Have you already downloaded?
Yep, got it right here.
You good? You
And
good?
for
Awesome.
Mirror,
So
they are
I'm
looking for
going
another
to
player.
assign
So
you
if you
to the
haven't
breakout
played yet,
okay?
make your way over to Mirror.
Yeah. Hope you enjoy the game. See
Sounds
you later.
good. Thank you.
Sounds good.
And if you're looking to be a spectator, the Haunter Hunter room is looking for more audiences.
Hey, Lauren. Are you in here with me, Lauren?
And that's it for now. We hope you enjoy your time at the ETC Festival.
The voice that you're hearing now coming over in a broadcast is Beck. She's another member of the Cloudworks team. We have a global audio broadcast that can send out to anybody within the world so that we can help kind of manage the flow of guests around the space. So Lauren is saying hello. Ah, there we go. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
How are things going on your end with the project?
It was a little bit of a rough start, a lot of technical difficulties.
Okay.
But I think we know how to handle it now.
Nice. Yeah, you'll get better with every round.
Cool. So, are you like, is it just you, or do you have like other people?
It's just me, so I'm coming in from the live stream, so
Okay, sweet.
yeah, I'm just walking around now. I don't know if you want to be the other person, that would be
Yeah,
cool
sure.
to do a live
Yeah.
demo.
Okay. Share my screen. So just checking that you have the screen on your phone.
Yep, got it right here.
All right. Whenever you're ready, you can just enter that code.
All right, got it in.
And you can hear this music, right?
Yep, yeah, I got it. So this is what the screen looks like.
I'm gonna turn it down so I can actually hear you. Okay. All right, ready to go.
All right. Oh, next. There we go. All right. Oh, I'm in the front this time. Okay. Last time I played,
You're driving this ship.
I was in the back last time, so didn't do too well last time.
That means you're a leader. This is actually it's
Yeah.
actually a personality test.
Okay, there we go. Okay. So just as you're watching on the live stream, because that is happening right now, I'm controlling the front half of this horse. Let's see. And Lauren is controlling the back half.
The same controls as Jack.
Yeah. So as I move forward, Lauren moves forward, and then I turn to the side. I move to the side, and then I have to jump into Cody's arms, and we'll jump over the different hazards. And if we either get too far from each other, or alternatively too close to each other, we'll fall down, I assume.
You want to demonstrate that?
Yes.
Stretchy boy.
100%, yes. Although, demonstrating it now is just delaying the fact that I will have to make it through the end of this level, which the last time was a struggle.
think we have a little bit of an advantage this time because
Yeah, you're
I'm playing
live.
locally, so I have less lag.
Yeah. But I think that like incorporation of the lag as a feature is kind of the interesting thing about this is like it's awkward to play things over Zoom screen share, and I think that this captures it super well as a mechanic. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to remember how to do this. He throws it over the red. Okay. We'll wait. All right. Nice. Oh my gosh, the first try.
Straight through.
When I did this before, it took probably more than 10 minutes to get through.
Get it to the Ubier.
Yes. Is there any way that you don't make it to the Ubier?
If you give up before you get to the door.
Okay. Honestly, the first time I played, I was close. I was like, this is embarrassing. I can't believe I'm doing so poorly.
We did make it easier. We were like, we can't put our guests through that again.
How'd you make it easier?
The time between him throwing the bottle is longer now.
I was wondering. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, this seems a little easier. It seems like, I don't know, I couldn't remember if it was like if the first throw took longer. But yeah, great. That's a nice change. That's a nice change for festival. It's always good to make things a little more approachable. Cool. So awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing it to us.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
This is great. So awesome. Thanks, Lauren.
All right, see you then.
Awesome. And hello, Sabrina. I see you saying hi. Let's go back over to this. Cool. So we can continue to explore, but first, of course, let's see, let's leave a comment. I now feel so much more confident, Bronco, than I did 2 days ago when I tested this the first time. So I feel on top of the world now, coming off of this as a victor. Let's see. So yeah, let's continue to explore the space. Let's see. Where do we want to go now? Let's see. Let me eat cake. Trans runner. Let's try trans runner. Because it's what is this one right here? Arcraft. Let's stop in and see Arcraft actually, since we're right here. So I see a nice orange and blue color palette. I think this is another Air Console world, so I'll be able to play on my phone. Let's hop over to this. Hello.
Hey, Jen.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. How's it going in this room?
We managed to run 3 games.
Nice. That's exciting.
So as we are a 4-player air console game, maybe we need more players. I guess I'll ask back now, see if she can send.
Sure.
Yeah. I can also ask Derek since he wanted us to.
Can you tell me just while you're sending that, just like a little bit about your project?
Sure. So it is a 4-player air console game. It's run through like the air console platform, and players can connect through their phone. So that's over there. That's a screenshot of how the phone UI is going to look like roughly. So once the player tap on one of the tools, they can then tap on the recipe to build furnitures. And each player will get to have different furnitures and different recipes. So they have to also pass the tools and materials around so that they can collaborate together to build more furnitures.
Interesting. Interesting. So then you decorate the room with the furniture?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
So we have 2 screens. One is the phone screen and the other is the Unity desktop screen. So on the desktop screen, we can get to see the room and how the furniture is going to be like put into there.
Okay. Once you build the furniture, the corresponding one will show up in the room.
Yeah.
So then my my air console screen will be this one that's being shared on screen now. It would be like a table. Interesting. Cool. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to try it if either Beck could scare someone up or Derek joins.
Okay. Hey Jack, are you in the Cloudworks team? Are you in the Cloudworks team?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And your role is?
I was the producer for the project.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Very excited to see everything today all come together.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for all your hard work. Because, yeah, truly, like, it's amazing to look back at the old footage of the festival and, like, how empty it was. And now to see everybody's work populated in the world is really fantastic. And it's great to see how diverse everything is. So I love it.
Cool.
We have more guests.
Is great.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello, Jack.
Hi, Anthony. How are you?
I'm good. You were very helpful the other day. I was going to write to you and say, you should be a teacher.
Oh, maybe someday. That was my dream once upon a midnight
No.
moon.
Better off creating games and making a fortune.
Don't write it off yet. Who knows?
What is your specialty?
Mine?
What is your particular skill?
Mine or the team's?
Jack.
Well, I don't know. My background's in design and history. I'm on the live stream now, so everybody's seeing this, which is fantastic. So if anybody in the live stream is collecting resumes, put it in the chat. Yeah, my background is in design and history. So I would love to be in an educational space designing.
Hello, everybody. One more announcement.
Educational
Arcraft
experiences.
is looking for 3 more players.
And
So if you haven't played Arcraft yet, head to their tent and have some fun.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and work in history and storytelling into that kind of space.
As we discussed the other day, because I'm thousands of miles away from you, the internet connection is not great. So,
I guess we
can
have.
somebody demonstrate?
Whoa, what is it?
Anthony, is that playing from your computer?
Yes, it was very weird.
Yeah, I think we have. No. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm ready to play.
Can somebody demonstrate?
Yeah. Do we want to try this one?
Hey, Ethan.
Hi. Do you still have 2 more people?
Yeah, I guess we with you come we're good in number. Oh,
Awesome.
So we are hosting a 4-player air console game, and since we have enough people, I will send you all into the breakout room so you can play out there. Sounds cool?
Mm-hmm.
all right.
Hello. Hi, Dave.
Hey, let me go on here with my screenshot. Okay, cool. Give me a sec to start the game. All right, I got my phone ready.
Do I need a phone?
This is an air console world, I think. Right?
Yes. Okay. The code is 141492.
Oh, I mean,
It's 49 what?
That's
141492.
Yeah, 141492.
492. Okay. I'm seeing I immediately got looped into helping my friend move. Amateur mistake.
Do I ever play guest next week?
I think I'm connected. I only see the dialogue that asks me to like upsell it. Is that?
Yeah, that's what happens when we steal with from other players.
Cool.
But we got so do everyone text candy or any of you not connected yet?
I have mine up, so I'm ready to go.
And Dave and Anthony, are you guys nothing?
I'm just gonna watch.
Okay. Oh, you just want to watch? Yeah, that definitely. I'll join you. Oh, Ethan, do you want to ask?
Oh, I'm already in. I'm already in.
Like, so Anthony, do you want to play or do you just watch? I guess I'll join from other US as the last one.
All right, here we go.
Turn.
Okay,
You
so
see my
this-
screen?
Yes.
This is what I'm working with. All right, what do we need? I've got a bunch of screws. Pop those in.
3 towels or like the fabric, which is the first one in the both room.
I need 3 washers.
Washer, cool.
I could use a light bulb if anybody has a light bulb.
I do.
No light bulbs over here. I need 1 more washer. I need a countertop.
Oh, here we go.
There we go.
I need a brush. Anyone have a brush?
Brush? Like a paintbrush?
Yeah, a paintbrush.
I have one. Who was that asked for that?
Ming Chen.
Okay. Let's see.
Who has the hammer?
Hammer here. I need 3 like the towel of fabric, the first one on the both room.
I need a screwdriver.
I got a screwdriver. Wait, I need a screwdriver.
I need a
back, so-
hammer.
Got the hammer, wait. Who needs the hammer?
I'll need a hammer. Meantime.
And then could I have a metal bar?
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, so many.
Alright, I need a lot of stuff. I need a screwdriver and screws and wood and the weird little screw things.
Huh? I need 2 more towels, 1 thread and 1 cotton.
And I need a bucket.
Bucket? No.
Is it a bucket? Yeah.
Bean can? I don't know.
Yes.
Bean can.
Bean can.
I need a needle.
Nice.
Needle.
Need a screwdriver and 1 more of those little bolt receiver things.
Ooh. I need 2 towels.
No towels over here. That's a screwdriver.
Or 2 fabrics. I don't know if those are fabrics or tiles.
I need a ping. Is it ping?
It's white.
I need one of the bolt things, this screw. I don't know how to describe it. The thing with the threads inside of it.
Yeah, I don't have that in my.
I don't know.
9 seconds.
Does anyone has a ping? A ping. I just need 1 ping.
Oh, here you go. Here you go.
Oh, I need 1. Oh crap.
Oh.
Not in time. Oh.
It's okay. Alex is back and he's going to help us build the rest furniture.
Oh wow.
Alright. Got some stuff made. It looks like a very empty apartment.
But we have a long day to go, so we can do the rest.
Yep. Need more pizza.
Yeah.
4 pieces.
4 of 12. Oh my gosh.
That's actually a average score, I would say.
Okay. Okay.
All like because we already host 3 games, and like that's really the average score.
Okay. Then I don't feel so bad anymore. As long as we got the couch done, that's really all you need for the first night.
There's a floor. I always use the floor.
Yeah.
That looked pretty good. I mean, what more do you need?
Right. But the apartment has a nice view. I'm sure the air conditioning works.
$1 million view.
That was fun to watch. I loved the communication that was going on there.
I think one of the things that when you start to play, you notice like the tools. There's only like one hammer between all 4 of us, and you have to like share it.
Pass it around.
The other resources are like you sort of use them to build the stuff, but all the tools, it's like one person can use a screwdriver once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where were all the
Excellent.
towels?
Thank you for showing
That's
me.
what I don't know.
And just to recheck, who has mounted, Jack, who has mounted this whole festival? How's it working that I can, from miles away, navigate around?
Yeah, so that was what my project team was working on this semester. We kind of redesigned the whole festival and designed and created the space. Dave was one of our advisors for that, so thank you, of course, Dave.
As well as working on this particular game.
So this game that you just watched was Tiany's team. And Minkan, were you also on this, or are you just visiting to play? Okay. Yeah, so Tiany is one of the people who built this specific game that you just watched. But the rest of the space that this game sits within was created by our team and then populated by their work.
It is phenomenal.
Oh,
I've been
thank you so
wandering
much.
around. I sometimes got lost. I eventually found my way back in. I held on. I didn't panic. So real congratulations. But I'm just noticing, does it say future president on your...
President, not president.
Oh.
Oh, please. As soon as you like. As soon as you like. Thanks, guys. I will see you around either virtually or in the flesh one day.
Yeah.
Good luck. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Anthony.
Guess I'll also run.
Yeah.
See you.
You guys.
This is really fantastic. Thank you. Great. So that was a nice little way to kind of put a bow on the BBW/festival section of this first portion of the live stream. For the last about half hour now, we're going to return to doing some project recaps for the second year projects. So we'll have 3 more teams come on and talk about their work. And so to do that, of course, same as last time, we have to switch over to the project side of the festival. But of course, we're not talking about Protochamp anymore. First up, for this time, we will be talking about AI playtesting, which is a student pitch project. And so to do that, we will bring in Ram and Sichi. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good.
Good.
Doing good.
What about you?
I'm hanging in there, you know. We're staying busy. So it's going well so far, I think. I think people are having fun. Cool. So you are both from AI playtesting, right?
Yes.
Of course, it would be strange if you weren't with coordinated backgrounds. So just to introduce yourselves and introduce the project, could you just go ahead and tell us who you are and what you do on the project, and then what your project is from kind of a high-level point of view?
Sure. I guess I'll answer that question. So we are AI playtesting, and our goal this semester has been to use reinforcement learning, which is a branch in machine learning, to automate playtesting for specifically combat card games. The game that we chose for doing this is Slay the Spire. We are all fans of the game, and we think that it's a good game to base this project on. So the concept is that we train a machine learning agent to play as a player, and because this is a computer agent, we can use that to play thousands of games and generate a lot of statistics, and this helps us see how the game is being played, and then we can use this to make some game balancing decisions. If we find that there are some cards that are too broken or too strong, then we can definitely nerf them. Or if we think that some cards are not being played at all, then we can buff them or make them stronger. So that's the general concept of this project.
Interesting. So, from what I understand about Slay the Spire, is it's a card-based game, right?
Yep.
Is there a reason why you chose not just Slay the Spire, but a like card-based game as sort of a starting point for this?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess I can try to answer this question. We select this game for several reasons. First, we need a game which is published, because if we made a game by ourselves, there's some guys, okay, if the game doesn't work for AI, we will change the game till the AI works. So we need to select a external game to prove our technology. The second reason is the nature of this game. It's turn-based, it's a card game, and it has strategy. And so this second reason. And the third reason is we need to pick a game which is within the scope. So it's a single player card game, and the situation training AI on this is different on training AI on the multiplayer. And to implement this game, we also don't need to worry about something like network something. So it's also make us within the scope. So we select it's a very good choice to start. Yeah.
Nice. So you all started. You are our first pitch team that we've shown so far in the project highlights. So I guess for anyone in the audience watching, the way a student pitch team works is they come together as a team in early on in the semester before the current one, and they pitch the idea to faculty, and so they start working together. I mean, for a pitch team, you started working together in January or February. So I guess how did your initial idea from back then develop over those months, and like to where you are now? I guess how has your project shifted dramatically, or is it somewhere around exactly kind of where you expected it to be? I guess how has it shifted in your minds about what it is you're doing?
So we did start working on this, let's say, I think in February of this year. So much earlier than most of the ETC projects. And I guess the initial idea was that we all felt that there's this AI revolution that's going around in the world, and like there's AI is being applied to so many things now, and we believe, I think all of us, that sooner than later it's going to come to game development as well, and it's going to take over some aspects of game development. So we wanted to be we wanted to do something in that area, and that is how this idea came in. um, Now, talking about what we initially thought and what we achieved, I think we have achieved a lot of what we started out to. The main idea was that we wanted to use some sort of reinforcement learning to create a agent that can playtest your game and help with game balancing decisions. So it can be an aid to game designers. The human playtesting process is quite expensive, not only in terms of like monetary compensation that you have to provide to playtesters, but also um, the time investment that it takes to support playtesting. There's a lot of effort that goes into it, and this is something that you can just it's just an application on your computer. You can just let it train for one day, and next day you have a full-fledged AI that's ready to play your game. So I think we did achieve a lot of what we started out to. Yeah.
That's, oh yeah.
Yeah, I want to add another point on this question. Yes, we did have a little shift on what we want. I mean, when we have our project, and even in the first half of this semester, we mainly focus on, okay, there's a AI technology. How can we make this work on the games? But after the half, we made a little achievement on these things. So we try to focus on, oh, we have this technology, how can we help the game developer? So we try to think as a designer, how we use this technology. So the second half of our semester, we build a demo, we contact our advisors to try our demo. And I will also have a designer in our team to use our like workflow, how to use this AI to help in his game design. And we also even contact the game developer with the state spire to seek for some advice, some feedback. So yeah, so we not only focus on the technology, we also try to make this useful for the developer, for the industry. Yeah.
So then, especially because you're using a game that has been created and has been published, and you're really creating a tool for game developers. Have you reached out to the developers of Slay the Spire or to other just game developers out there to get them using it, or to see if they'd be interested in using it, or to I guess just connecting with those individuals?
I can. Yeah, the answer is yes. Yeah, we try to reach out the developer at the beginning, but we didn't do this because we want our work published and ready for the outside the communities. And we did this last week, and yes, we got the response of the co-founder of the Megacrate, which is the studio create that game. So we are going to get more contact, some talk to get feedback. Yes.
That's really exciting.
Yeah.
That's probably like a nice little cherry at the end of this semester's worth of work. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are all excited about this.
Yeah, I feel like, so I've been ending these kind of highlight sessions by asking each team like what is their kind of proud thing, or either as an individual or as a team, like what is it that you're proud of. And I feel like that's it, like that. I mean, I might be assuming, but yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm great at this. That's really incredible. So then I guess maybe just as a final a final question then is about how you are giving information to the designers. How are you visualizing the data that's getting spat out in a way that's, I guess, understandable or usable? Is it all based off of like the way in which they've set the AI up ahead of time before it runs the playtest?
So we have an entire section of the application just catering to data visualization. And I mean, the way we created this was we contacted a lot of our game design faculty and asked them what are some of the design questions that you would want answered using an AI. Like, let's say you had an AI for any game that you are developing or designing, then what would you want to see? And that sort of went into how we do our data visualization. And yeah, so there are a lot of cool things. Like, we make a lot of graphs that show you like distributions of game length and like ending margins. What was the ending player HP, ending boss HP? What were the most popular combinations that were played in this deck? We show a heat map of all card pairs that were played in sequence. We show a list of three card combinations. And we also have this cool section where you can inspect anomalies. So which were the top 5 fastest games won in this playtest? Which were the longest games lost in this playtest? What was the maximum damage done in a single turn during this playtest? So you can like go and look at these outliers to see, if there's something that happened that you did not expect as a designer, some card combination that delivered a massive result that you had no idea could do that.
Yeah. That seems incredibly important because I feel like that's the exact kind of thing that as a game designer, you publish a game and the first person who buys it encounters that thing that you've never encountered before. It's like, it has to happen. And so that alone, I think is enough to just highlight the value of this. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on to talk about this. It's
Thank
super
you for
interesting.
having us.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Great work, you guys. So great. That was AI playtesting. I'm just gonna grab a light, put a light on real quick. I think it's getting a little sunny, or cloudy rather. So I was realizing I'm still looking a little spooky here. So we'll try and improvise some lighting so that I'm not scaring any of my next guests, which, as we mention them, our next guest is going to be, let me see, I believe it is, stalling. It is going to be Shelly from Hotspot. So let's get this queued up and bring in Shelly. Scaring any of my next guests. Hello, I hear myself over there. Perfect.
Okay, let me turn off the YouTube video.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's just me, okay.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm great.
Yeah.
How are you? You've
Good.
been talking the whole morning.
Yeah, it's not so bad. It's good to see you. Yeah, it's been a while. So it's good to see you. Cool. So we can go ahead and jump in. If you want to just open by telling us a little bit about your project and who you are on the project and what your project is.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Shelly. I am the producer of the team Hotspot, and we're a team of 6. We have game designer, experienced designer, and artists, and the 2 programmers. And our client is Boston Dynamics. It's a robotic company, and it has a robot called Spot. So it is an industrial robot. And originally it is designed for various industrial purpose. For example, people usually send it to dangerous places like, for example, Spa recently was sent to Chernobyl nuclear disaster site and to detect radiation levels. So, however, here at the ETC, Boston Dynamics wants us to illustrate the possibility of using Spot as a unique gaming platform. So they are looking for a complete game, which is able to elicit positive emotions, and it's about 20 minutes long, and yet able to hold people's attention. Because when they what they find out was usually people will get bored after 10 minutes of playing with spots. So our goal is like 20 minutes long or 30 minutes long, and people will find interesting to play with it.
Interesting. I guess while we talk, is it okay if I play the video in the background?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, I'll just have it up playing in the live stream on silent so that we can hear you talk, but we can also just get a sense of what Spot looks like moving around and and some of the interactions and so on. So it seems to me from what I've seen of your project that a lot of time was spent around like figuring out how to get a guest to empathize with this robot, because as cute and endearing as the robot can be, I think there can also be something that's a little unsettling about it for some people. And so I'd love to hear about your process of figuring out how to make Spot be, I guess, empathetic, or have a user be empathetic to Spot.
Yes, I totally agree. So, I mean, by how it looks, a lot of people will instantly get, oh, it's a robot dog. So it's a dog, but they don't even recognize like which side is the head. Does it have a head? So they don't know about it. So, and it looks very industrial or futuristic. So in order to make it like more emphasized by user, so we first sort of like adding costumes to add more characteristics, but that would easily block Spot's cameras. So Spot has several cameras on its body, so that's mainly for collision detection. So it will allow Spot to avoid obstacles, but we don't want that ability to turn off because we want the player and Spot to feel safe. So that's why we didn't like put costumes on. However, what we did was we added a lot of like emotional reaction to Spot. So we looked for real dot as inspiration. So, for example, dot will be like curious about some bots, and maybe Spot can do something like curious and wondering. And so we let Spot to do those movements and to show its like characteristic of dog. So that's how we did it.
Nice. Yeah, I think because I know I've heard from a lot of people there, like at first when they see it, it's kind of surprising, but yeah, I think you've done a really nice job of kind of making it really endearing. Are these I'm sorry if you said this already, are these sort of movements, are they pre-programmed in, or did you animate and create those for Spot?
Yeah, so we are provided a library from Boston Dynamics, and in the library we had a bunch of options of like small movement. For example, just like step. So those are tiny, like small movement. And what we did was basically we need to combine those sequences into a longer sequence that would make sense. So for example, like curious or happy or make it dance. So something like more meaningful, and to try to combine those. And we tested a lot, and like I said, we look for real dots for inspirations.
Nice. Excuse me. So you've done some play tests then with like this 20-minute scavenger hunt. How did you kind of alternate between preparing spot and testing spot in advance of the play test, and also like preparing the users and getting information from them and verify that they understood what they were doing in this sort of scavenger hunt, and like know how to navigate that space.
Yes. So what we did was we had 3 rounds of playtest after halves. So we first did a paper prototype playtest. So that provided us early feedback before we actually implemented like all the installations, like before we built everything. So we did it through Zoom, so it's virtually, and one of the team guided the playtester. What they both looked at was the map of the game. So basically it was a map of the room, and then we have a layout. Oh, here is the first installation. Here is the QR code, or here is a table. So the playtesters had options to move around and move spot around and do some activities. And our team will tell the playtester what would happen. This playtest basically tested whether the player can understand the mission, or just figuring out how to move, where to go and to solve that specific puzzle. For example, there was a color mixing game, so we just tested how the player will respond to that, whether they will be able to figure out how to mix color. For example, the mission is purple, and can they think of like having a red or blue to be a purple? So we just tested that. Then we also held like in-person playtest. We mainly tested whether the playtests were comfortable controlling spot to complete those activities. So they know how to do. They know they need to get a red and blue then at this playtest. But what they need to figure out is like using the Xbox controller to control spot to move around. But that's still challenging, because most people, they have experience in games, and they know how to use controller. But for spot, sometimes it will automatically avoid obstacles, So sometimes the user will lose control, and they need to figure out, when I am actually controlling spot and moving to the right position to do the correct thing. So we basically test that. And after that, we had a chance to test out the overall experience in person, and then we'll put everything together.
So it sounds like, when you say Spot has this kind of innate ability to move around things without you necessarily controlling it. It sounds like that is kind of coming from the conflict of using an industrial machine for a game, So can you talk about that challenge of using this industrial thing for a game, for something fun?
Yeah. So like I mentioned, this collision detection ability, if you can imagine, it makes really hard to make it physically interact with other objects. For example, if you want to make it like use its head to push something, so it cannot happen. So it will avoid that, right? So Another thing is like, if you have saw some of the payloads from Boston Dynamics, it has an arm, so but we didn't have that. So we don't have the extra payloads to do the extra thing. So that will be one of our design challenging. I mean, it will be awesome if we can make it like fetch or catch like a dog, but that's not possible. And also it is hard to give it personality, and I mean also by its looks. And it looks very industrial and makes a huge sound. You know, it also makes a huge sound while it's walking. So, and from programming perspective, we want Spot to be more autonomous, like to respond to the thing. However, we like I said, did I mention? So we have like some libraries, and we need to play with that. And for our programmers, they need to work on several libraries and try to combine all those together. So that's challenging.
Interesting. So then, I guess to conclude, I've been asking everyone, is just sort of something from the project that either you personally or you as your team are just really proud of.
Yeah. So I mean, under this difficult time, so as our game is very physical, like we still were able to deliver a game that meets most of our clients' needs. The actual game is about 20 minutes long, and it can hold players' attention, and it works really well for the newbies, people who haven't tried Spot before. And we also figured out a way to integrate Spot's ability and bypassed some of the limitations I mentioned earlier. So yeah, we actually really proud of this game we made, and we really want like easier and they can actually try this game in person.
Nice. Yeah. Well, hopefully someday when we're all back together, I'll be able to try it because it looks really amazing, and you should be proud. So, thank you so much for joining us, Shelley.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, great. So that was Hotspot. And yes, I see. It's nice to see footage from the ETC. Yes, it is. It was so weird going through these videos and seeing footage from the ETC. I haven't been there in so long. And luckily, I believe our last team, their video will also have some footage of the ETC as well. So no more introduction. We can switch over to talking about X Room. Or XR Room. We'll find out on the pronunciation as soon as Dongmeng joins. And let me admit him. And we can switch over once again. Hello. Hey, Dongmeng. How are you?
Oh, great. How are you?
I'm doing well. So is it X Room or is it XR Room?
X Room.
X Room. Okay, that's what I thought. But I got halfway through it and I was like, I don't know. Great. Cool. So if you just want to start by telling us a little bit about who you are and your project, that would be great.
Sure. So, hi, I'm the producer from the X Room project, and we are making a mixed reality interactive game for a future conference. So for this semester, we are focusing on finding the core gameplay and get the gameplay nailed down, and there will be another team to continue build on what we have and what we did find out for this semester. So yeah, I share the screen. So
yeah. Yeah, give me 1 second. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
Okay, all participants. There you go.
Okay. So yeah, let me share something about our team. So yeah, this is our team. We have a team of 6 people that come from a diverse background. Yeah, we did. We are making the XR game. So what we did is called Disco Arena.
Mhm.
So yeah, let me show the video trailer we have, so you have like a more clear idea what I'm talking about. And I have a gameplay demo that I can show after that if you guys want to have a look about what our game is actually.
Perfect.
This is Project Extra, a team of 6 designers, artists, and programmers at Carnegie Mellon University Entertainment Technology Center, working together to explore the possibility of extra game by combining augmented reality in a room scale space and utilizing InterDigital's advantage edge computing system. We team up with Dr. Jessica Hammer to create a game that explores new entertainment experiences.
First of all, what is edge computing? Instead of traditional cloud server, edge computing as an extra layer between devices and cloud. In this way, edge computing works as a local cloud services that move the communication away from the data center in the cloud to the edge of the network. This means a faster rendering and a less latency between players.
With this technology in here, we brainstormed a total of 23 different ideas over several weeks before we decided on our final idea. We came up with Disco Ring, a multiplayer competitive game where players reflect light beams into each other's faces to score points. The core mechanic of the game was actually based off one of my experiences in marching band. We had hats with reflective logos on top, and at the right time of day, you could reflect the sunlight into other people's faces. Through careful playtesting and key feedback, we applied concepts like indirect control, clear visual contrasting, and mechanics simplicity to help guide our game's design.
While edge computing allowed us to experience faster network response and calculating process between players, we faced a lot of technical challenges along the way. We had to overcome some issues, including both the error detection and gameplay mechanism. For example, you have to figure out how we can get the transform of both players in the same room scale space, and how to implement gameplay mechanism effectively.
We expected a lot of people to play our game. Therefore, it was up to us to make transitions from like guests into seasoned players in a short amount of time. We spent a lot of time refining the UI system so users can easily understand gameplay.
In addition, we also spent a lot of time refining the light beam particles, as it was an essential part of our game. We went through several iterations over the course of the semester for the sake of visual clarity throughout the experience.
Based on our finding, our client Jessica Hammer will be continuing our project next semester. We would like to thank InterDigital, Jessica Hammer, and all our playtesters. If you would like to learn more about our project, please visit our website. Thank you. So yeah, this is our video trailer. Then we have a demo that can really show the gameplay. So as a game that need to be showcased in a conference, we at the beginning will show the tutorial on the phone, so the guests would know how to play our game. So you can see the guests are checking those tutorials. So after that, they will scan a QR code in the center of the room. So the QR code is help the device find the right position in the virtual world. So after this initialization part, they will reflect the light. So you can see the multiple light sources in the virtual world. So this purple light is the light that come from those light sources, and you can reflect those light and hit each other, hit your opponent to get the point. Right. So yeah, this game playing rounds. After you score, then you win a round. So here you can see we add those arrows to show the direction of the light. As we find out during the playtest, there's is a big problem to differentiate the direction of the light. Also here you can see we use different color light. The blue one is the light that you are reflecting to the others, and the yellow one is the light beam that is shooting at you. So yeah, that's basically how our game play. So also, in order to balance aiming and dodging, we had those health systems for the mirror. Just you phone, that basically means that you only have certain time that you can use your phone and they will cool down. So you have to dodge during this game. So yeah, that is how our game is. Yeah, pretty sad you guys can't play during the festival. So that's the only way we can like show you guys how our game is.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, it looks really, really interesting. I think the very physical movements around the space are kind of a real highlight. It's very funny to see those, and yeah, it's great to see the ETC in that footage. Yeah, so I guess. I was hoping in that video you talked about having, 20 prototypes or 20 concepts that you kind of developed from the start. Can you talk about that process of kind of sorting through all of those and how this one became the one? Like, what was it about this one in augmented reality that really connected?
Yeah, sure. So as list as a discovery project, so we use kind of first 3 weeks just thinking about different game design ideas. So kind of what we did during like our kick-off meeting is just camera give us a few avenues that we can try to explore at something like leaving the boots, spectate, interactive physical movement, some of those pillars those are the directions that you guys can look forward, and you guys must combine those design pillars with AR, because that will be the major field that we should focus on. So we kind of design different ideas based on those design pillars, and so we'll have like 3 rounds of pitch meetings with our clients. So during each meeting, we will bring our ideas to them and talk about how we can iterate if they want to do that through the meeting. So totally during those first week, with those 3 rounds of pitch meetings, we have those around 23 ideas. So why this kind of was selected by our like client is because it's really weird that you can see the like interactive AR gaming. So I think the most AR gaming you guys know or everybody have experience of the Pokemon Go, when you walk to a place and find a little Pokemon in a corner. So it's not really there's something that people can interact with people. It's more like people interact with the machine or interact with other still stuff. So Jessica they wish us to explore the field of like highly interactive AR. So I think that's why this was picked. Yeah, as you can watch during the video, this come from Brandon's like personal like experiences. So yeah, that's from why this was picked by Jessica Hammer, and also our other client, Interdigital, they really love this idea because those highly physical movements and highly interactive things that require like highly computing power. So that's what the edge computing platform they can provide. So what they are looking for, I mean, what the Interdigital are looking for is to build a showcase that can bring this showcase to a conference to show how good their edge computing platform is. So I think that's their reason why they picked this game design.
Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely makes sense. I mean, just watching that demo video, the thing that just strikes you so much is the movement. I feel like a lot of the augmented reality experiences I've seen. It's, you know, you kind of move around a thing and it just kind of sits there. And I think that constant movement throughout that whole demo was like a really fantastic show of the potential of it. So yeah, really nice work. Just to conclude, I guess if there's something that you personally are very proud of, or you as a team are very proud of about this work, I'd love to hear from you about that.
Yeah, I think what we really like is the core gameplay. Yeah, as we only have the short time, we actually have pretty rough prototype at the beginning. Those are only like one light sources at the center of the room, but you can see in the demo we have like multiple light sources and randomly generated light. Yeah, I think this process of how we iterate the game and make the balance of aiming and dodging, that process went very well. So I think that's the part that's not only me but as the team we really love about.
Great. Yeah, I mean, it was really, really incredible demonstration. So thanks, Dongwang. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
See you too.
Okay, great. So, with that said, it was great to hear from Dongmeng and Shelly and Sichi and Ram about their projects in this last portion of the morning live stream. So yes, we've reached the end of the morning live stream, sadly, but do not fear, for the evening live stream is here, or rather will be here. I'm going to share the link to the evening live stream in the chat right now. So you can find it there. It'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 11 p.m. It'll have a similar setup to this morning's, but the content will be different. So we'll be featuring the other half of the BVW festival space. We'll be talking to the other 6, 7 second semester projects, and we'll get some more footage of visual story projects when we get a sneak peek at the Vizzy Awards, the ETC's Oscars. So come back for this evening. We're looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing you all again. But until then, thank you very much for tuning in. It's been wonderful. So until then, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on where you are. Thank you so much.